Hey, it's Josiah, and this is Christian Rock Summer. That's right, we are continuing our month-long exploration of Christian rock with Josh Christensen joining me as co-host. Earlier this month, we did a big picture introduction to Christian rock and CCM with Tom O'Mahony before pivoting to Christian post-hardcore on the Patreon with an episode discussing the band Under Oath with Nathan Thiessen and James C. Liker. They're both really fun episodes, and you should give them a listen if you haven't already. But today's episode is going to be building a bit off that intro to Christian rock episode. We're going back into the world of CCM, this time specifically the year 2003. We're talking about the Christian rock opera, Hero. This rock opera stars Michael Tait of DC Talk and Newsboys fame, alongside Rebecca St. James, Mark Stuart of Audio Adrenaline, and more. It's an insane little artifact from a very specific moment in Christian rock history, and I'm really glad that I was introduced to it by today's guest, Brian Alford of The Worst of All Possible Worlds. This episode is a lot of fun, for the most part. I do need to give a content warning at the top that we will be discussing Michael Tait's sexual assault allegations at length and in a bit of detail toward the beginning of the episode, so if that's not something you're in a place to hear about, feel free to skip this one. I also need to say that you can support the show on Patreon. For a mere $3, you get at least 2 additional bonus episodes per month, as well as access to the Fruitless Discord and the occasional deleted scene from a main feed episode. If you're not quite ready to support the show financially, consider leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find the show, and I might read your review out at the top of an episode. All right, with all that out of the way, let's get on with the episode. You're listening to Fruitless, a podcast hosted by me, Josiah Sutton, as well as my friend Josh Christensen for this month. This is episode, 67, Holding Out for a Hero, featuring Brian Alford of The Worst of All Possible Worlds.
The Jesus Freak hideout find was that was such a I love that review. It's just the best type of like evangelical review where it is just like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but they did everything right. Like they did everything I as a Christian am looking for in a piece of media. Every aspect, he's like, oh, the songs were pretty good, except there were a lot of boring ones, and the costumes were great, except they could have been more, I guess. Like it's everything is negged, and it's just like, admit you don't like it.
But yeah, if you like grow up with just Christian entertainment, that kind of stuff, you're just used to everything kind of sucking a bit, and finding just the thing that you like and being like, yeah, well, everything kind of sucks, right? Like everybody has a thing that they only like 20% of. So the 20% stuff was really, really good.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, I found for those listening, I found a review of the rock opera that we'll be discussing, Hero, from Jesus Freak Hideout, which was like one of the big sites I remember when I was young evangelical that was always covering what was going on in the CCM world, all the hot goss.
Incredible. I love that it's a hideout. I love that it's like, because the whole Jesus Freak being a martyr thing, like this is us underground, away from the world, being hidden because we could be killed at any moment for loving the Lord.
Just really liking Rebecca St. James, that's going to get us. Well, hey everyone, welcome to Fruitless. We are continuing Christian Rock Summer 2025, but we are moving out of metalcore, post art, a lot of the stuff we tend to go to. We're going into a rock opera that I would not have known it existed if it weren't for today's guest, Brian Alford. Hello, Brian.
Hello, it's me. I'm Brian. You may know me from such podcasts as The Worst of All Possible Worlds.
That's the main one, yeah.
And yeah, we were talking when you were on our show, we started talking about this either before or after recording. And this has been something that Josh Borman and I have been a little obsessed with over the years. My sister had the album for this.
Okay, yeah.
I knew it had been filmed, didn't have the DVD, and I think when my sister bought the CD, it came with a couple of like comics. There was a full graphic novel tie-in, so that was actually what I was familiar with. I had heard the album like maybe once, and it was like, wow, they've got everybody in this album. They got every Christian musician that there is. They got T-Bone. He was in the Fighting Temptations. And the comic is like pretty different. The comic takes the basic premise, but actually follows through on it, which is that it's from the perspective of this one like Illuminati NYPD cop experiencing the world of like apocalyptic modern day New York where Jesus didn't come 2,000 years ago and now he showed up. So it sort of has like I don't know, it's sort of like Ben-Hur. You know, it's like we're looking at the story of this guy and then it intersects with the story of Jesus, which is what this musical pretends to do at the beginning. And then it's just like straightforwardly, here's Jesus doing Jesus
Then it's just
stuff.
the Jesus narrative. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my God. Like, I didn't realize this was evangelical Southland tales. Like, I just did, like...
God damn it.
Because my memory of this is like, I don't know, it feels like something I saw in a bargain bin at a Christian bookstore. Like, I'm not sure anybody in my orbit really, like, got it, but it's like maybe there was like a free poster somebody got at another event that just kind of got left in the youth group room. You know, it's just like it was, you know, maybe like some sort of youth group adjacent adult was like, oh yeah, if you want a really good album, check out Hero. It's like a really interesting take on the whole Jesus thing. If you want something a little more hip, then I don't know, I guess The Passion of the Christ wasn't out.
Yeah. This is
I think it may have. I think they kind of are around the same time. I don't know. I feel like I wasn't aware of Hero until maybe like 2004, 2005. Okay. But I don't know. What do we have the number for the year?
2003, I think is
2003. So yeah, that's like right around the same time as Passion of the Christ.
Okay.
And I don't know for you guys, that was like everybody went and saw it. That was the only R-rated movie I saw as a kid.
Same.
My dad didn't see it though. He didn't want to see that. He didn't think that was something worth focusing on. But I saw it with my mom.
Weirdly,
my brother and sister.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. My brother and sister saw it with their classes. They went to school. Like the whole school, high school, bust them over to watch The Passion of the Christ.
It's insane how many like kids they showed that movie. It's such a brutal, upsetting movie. Like, oh man.
And it's like I haven't seen it since then, but I think it's a pretty incredible movie. You know, it's very easy to do a passion play that like sucks. Mm-hmm. Which we'll get into, but you know, like I remember specifically the imagery at Gethsemane, like him crushing the snake with his heel at the beginning, or like the depictions of the devil or whatever's going on with the homunculus baby and all of that stuff, and the insane anti-Semitism throughout. Like,
not that there's any of that in this, of course.
No.
It's a fucking shitty fact of life that like Mel Gibson rips. Like it's just like he's a good director, and it just sucks that those talents are employed for evil almost exclusively.
No, so Hero here is a rock opera that asks the question, what if Jesus was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania? And then it all takes place in Brooklyn. So doesn't really explore that question at all.
Well,
actually,
so
I don't
the
think.
guy I was trying to like find the comic online without spending money on it, because, you know, I couldn't. It turns out that the various pirates of the world have not scanned Hero, the graphic novel, and uploaded it. But I did find out in the process that the authors of the graphic novel, quite a number of years later, like I want to say within maybe a decade, wrote 3 novels, also with the same premise. And the log line for the novel said that he's born in Spanish Harlem. And that makes more sense, but you do lose the Five Iron Frenzy album that way. What if he was born in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, the cheeses of Nazareth, Pennsylvania, whatever. But like the cornball aspect of it remains throughout. I just remember the comic feeling really like edgy and cool and dark. And it sounds like they really just took the bones of what this rock opera was and ignored any of the substance of it. And we're just like, okay, we're going to go off and do our own thing with basically what you wrote in the first 5 minutes for the projections.
Yeah, because I mean, honestly, the thing about this is it does not explore any of the questions it poses really at all.
Oh no,
it really
it doesn't really change anything.
No, it's just the passion narrative. Like, that's it. Like, and I think one of the more honest descriptions I found of it was them saying, I don't remember which review it was. It described it as Jesus Christ Superstar for the MTV generation. That's closer to the ballpark of describing what this is. Although it's kind of like, what if Jesus Christ Superstar sucked and had like a bunch of rap parts?
Yeah. So one of the writers, Eddie DeGarmo, DeGarmo and Key, I think the first Christian rock artist to have a video on MTV. So,
interesting.
I didn't realize that.
So they were some like milestone artists in a couple ways. So, fun fact, I only found this from a fragment of an article I could find on Christianity Today without paying. That while this was written, he was the president of EMI's Christian Music Publishing Group.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, he got really into the executive side of things. Maybe he just got bored and was like, I need to get back to basics, get back to being a rock star.
Right. So it's like, it's kind of pulling from this, like, what a middle-aged white guy at the time is going to consider just like urban culture. And so it's my conviction that he like reverse engineered all this from like half listening to the Battle of Los Angeles.
And you can hear that right at the beginning too. There's like do 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 do. Like
it's like there's so much like just like the laziest attempt to like, okay, how do we sound like Tom Morello without actually it's just a wah pedal, right? It's like you just
well, and what I get visually from this, I don't know who the director was, but like this feels like it's also a response to Rent, strangely, right? Where it's like, Jonathan Larson writes this sort of rock infused Broadway musical, and the set for Rent, the whole staging is very pared down. It's scaffolds. It's a one long table. It's people wearing street clothes, and they're all wearing headset microphones, right? The headset microphone kind of became a thing for stage productions because Rent made it a thing. Like they're very visible. They're not the tiniest ones that you can get. They cover them with foam. They make them really obvious on your face. And a bunch of rock musicals kind of did that afterwards. I mean, Spring Awakening did it with handheld mics and things like that. But it feels like, they're trying to do like CCM Rent.
Yeah. Then there's like the implication when he heals the little girl later. No, or somebody has a sickness. It does feel like they're trying to imply AIDS a little bit.
Yeah, that Raised in Harlem bit. Yeah.
There's also a bit of stomp to it. Like it is trying to just do like, I think they're trying to do that minimalist set thing. And there's like just some weird stuff they're trying to do with the props, but they don't quite understand what stomp is doing. Like, so it's just, they're kind of trying to synthesize like the 90s Broadway aesthetic in general. And like, what if we made CCM Jesus opera?
And it's interesting too, because the person who claims to have invented the rock opera is Larry Norman, who was the original Jesus music guy. When he was with the band People, he always claims that The Who basically got their idea from People. So People at one point was opening for The Who, and they did, it's not a full like 2-hour type show, but they had I feel like it's like a 10-minute song called Epic that is like this sort of medieval, like a fancy lad goes out into the woods and fights a dragon, and the dragon is like represented. It gets really kind of meta where they're like unplugging their line and plugging it back in and using like those electronic sounds and those hums and the feedback and everything to represent the dragon and everything. It's really neat. And then Tommy sort of comes about a couple years after that.
Okay.
And then you have that. I mean, Tommy gets done, on Broadway, does Mac enough, and Andrew Lloyd Webber makes his concept albums for Evita and for Jesus Christ Superstar that are then translated onto the stage. And from there, that's how we get the greatest musical of all time, ! Hero. What if he was born in Nazareth, Pennsylvania? It all loops back around to Christian music somehow.
On another, I listened to another podcast cover this, and it was more of like an atheist snark thing, and it's like,
sure.
I got a little defensive, but I'm like, this is absolutely a thing that deserves that treatment. Like, it's just like, no, this is about the level of consideration it deserves. But they were stylized it. Hero. That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
It was a god awful movies, just to give them credit.
Okay.
Seems like they've been they are much more aggressively monetized podcast that has been around for a while. So. Good for them.
Good for them.
Sorry they watched this movie.
Why would you put an exclamation point in front of the word? What does that mean? What does that do for anyone?
Make it ungoogleable, I think, is one thing.
That's true.
They didn't know that, but it is so hard to read about this fucking rock opera because you can't Google hero, and then the one thing that sets it apart is putting an exclamation point, which doesn't Google.
Try looking up hero comic.
Oh my god.
Right. Yeah. So you got to type out Hero the rock opera and then at least one person who is known for other things that was involved.
And it's so for us. This is definitely us digging up something just to bury it, but like it was such a pain in the ass digging some of the stuff up, just trying to figure out I was sending to the Discord chat as we were planning the app, trying to figure out this guy Michael Quinlan, I think that's it. Just trying to figure out his whole deal because so many of the people in this are just forgot, at this point. Yeah. But so big selling point, I think we've kind of said this, but to formally say it is most of the cast are big names in CCM with a few exceptions. Yeah. And even those exceptions, they're like Michael Quinlan, why it's hard to find stuff about him is because he was a producer. So he is still a big name in CCM, but he was did background vocals on a couple DC Talk records and helped produce the Zoe Girl record, stuff like that.
Amazing. Okay. So he had also been in a band called Bullets of Orange.
I think they're still around.
Yeah, their music had never. He made some announcement on his Instagram a few months ago to be like, "Yeah, we're finally putting this music online. It's never streamed anywhere." Also, really hard to Google. You just find stuff about orange bullets.
He's impossible.
And people talking about Death Stranding, there's a Michael Quinlan who's a McDonald's CEO. It's just
multiple musicians named Michael Quinlan, which makes it hard. I was confused because the Wikipedia for this was fucked up and it was linking to the Mexican Spitfires, a band from Australia that has a member named Michael Quinlan whenever you clicked his name. And it took me way too long. And actually Brian finding a picture of the band to confirm
I found a picture,
that is not the
and
same
then I was
guy.
well, the 80s is a long time ago. Maybe he lost his hair, he gained some weight. Maybe it's the same guy. I really started to gaslight myself into thinking it was the same person by looking back and forth from the screen to the picture.
It was so easy to guess because it's okay, Australian band. Why did he end up in Nashville doing CCM in the 90s? It's what? Newsboys were
He's
Australian.
Not the only one. Yeah.
So it was Rebecca St. James. And maybe he had a born again moment and decided to move to Nashville. It could work, but it would make him just a little too old, I think, is what I landed on, that not making sense.
But I was watching this and I was like, I don't know who this man is, so my notes just refer to him as CCM Billy Corbin. Corgan. Yeah,
I honestly kind of
so-
I kind of like his performance. He's so over the top and evil and scheming.
Yeah.
He's having so much fun.
He has one of the only songs that I enjoy, which is like the one where the betrayal is like about to happen.
Yeah.
You know,
Is it-
he's like,
when he becomes the Shadow Man.
yes,
Shadow Man's so cool. That was where I was able to finally figure out the guy I found on Instagram was the same guy. It's because he showed a screenshot on Instagram of somebody emailing him saying that they saw Shadow Man and they loved it. And he was like, oh, it's so cool to hear my work's still getting whatever. I almost reached out to him to ask some questions because seems like he'd be really easy to get a hold of. But I then felt bad because we're about to shit on this. And you could tell he's having so much fun. I don't want him listening to this. I would feel bad.
no.
Michael Quinlan innocent.
The
guilt lies with other parties.
He kind of rocks because he was announcing he's making a CCM record now, but it's all influenced by like Rich Mullins. And then I was like, okay, let's see if I can find some horrific politics. No, he's actually like, was pro the protests in 2020. He's like, angry at people for not wearing masks. Like, this is one of the like weird like types of evangelical that's gone now. That was, I think, a little more common in the 90s.
The Shane Claiborne wing. Who've been kind of forced out of the big tent at this point. Or at least I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Shane Claiborne is up to these days.
No, I still on his beat, I think, from what I've seen. He's honestly been okay. He's not radical enough for my taste or whatever, but he's a guy from the evangelical world. I don't expect that.
He's remained consistent. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right. So going the Mark Lowry route, at least, just being like a nice boy online, not trying to hate anybody. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible to be an evangelical and normal. It's not easy, but it's
apparently it's not possible anymore. But see, this is an era. This rock opera is from an era of evangelicalism that does not exist anymore, and it has all the contradictions of like 90s 2000 CCM in it, where on some things it's like kind of woke, and then on other things it's like that's like vaguely anti-Semitic, or I shouldn't say vaguely. We'll get to that. And then the whole framing device is weird because on the one hand they like using the image of like a repressive police state you're rebelling against, so they like left-wing resistance imagery on some level, but then like the stand-in for the Roman Empire is like totally like, what if the UN became a police state?
Yeah, it's the Thief in the Night movies. It's like the effect that those movies had on the Christian scene, or I guess like the C.S. Lewis sci-fi trilogy. Like that's why it felt futuristic in the comic that I read. Maybe it was also kind of influenced by Watchmen on that end, but like the world where Jesus didn't show up 2,000 years ago is in many ways largely the same. Like we still have Mount Rushmore and like all of this other stuff, but like it is also just like, because the US can't be a stand-in for, Judea 2,000 years ago, right? Like we're not in the same status. So they're like, okay, so we have to be an occupied territory, therefore we have to have a power greater than the US. And what is that? It's our big scary thing that we keep going back to, the United Nations.
The UN, yeah.
And they even show like everything is run by Icon. Yeah, that's what they call it. Icon.
Thief in the Night. I mean, Left Behind was huge at this point, and I mean, like,
yep.
I guess
Nikolai
ultimately
Carpathia,
it's all kind of like laundered anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, cribbed from the John Birch Society. Ultimately,
yeah. They're all putting fluoride in our water, and
this was something I was thinking about though, because like, okay, I am interested in the question of like, if you choose to set a Jesus narrative in the present, why are you doing that? Like, what are you doing with it, right? Because I think you can do interesting stuff with that. I don't think this does, but I think like how it doesn't do interesting stuff is kind of interesting itself, because it's like, okay, like what's the purpose of this? Okay, you're modernizing the Jesus, the passion narrative. Why do you do that? One of the reasons that I think probably a lot of the people involved with this would give is that it modernizes the story. It's evangelistic in that way, right? It like, okay, people now, the kids nowadays will get it if we rap at them about it. Like that's kind of the thing.
Yeah, like this looks like your neighborhood. This looks like things the way that you understand them. And now you just transpose those ideas in the same way that like The Last Temptation of Christ, Scorsese just cast a bunch of like Italian Americans. Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, if that's the intent, it's terrible at that. Because, okay, if you actually went into this without a knowledge of the Jesus, like the passion narrative, you wouldn't get it from it. You'd have to pay real close attention. Because like,
you wouldn't understand anything that's happening.
No,
like
it relies on
it is basically like,
story.
Here's the story you know remixed, and without any. I mean, they even forget that the Messiah is called Hero in this, and they just start calling him Jesus.
Yeah, the
like
Wikipedia synopsis forgets that.
Yeah. Is his name Hero or is his name Jesus? It's whatever we feel like at a given moment.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like pick one. You know, C.S. Lewis. You know, Aslan. It's a lion. He never
calls
accidentally
him Jesus.
shows up and he's like, "Oh yeah, when I was hanging out with my dad Joseph and doing carpentry work." And it's like, no, he's a lion. He stays the same thing.
So I think if the goal isn't evangelistic, then like if that isn't what it ends up doing, then the goal is to like draw something out of the story by making parallels to the present, right? That's then the point.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't do that intentionally by setting it in an alternate timeline where it's not able to do that, because if we're going to be serious, right? If you want something to represent Rome in a narrative about like, what if Jesus were around today? It'd be the United fucking States. Okay.
Yeah.
Like obviously that would be obvious, but they're never going to do that.
And I feel like you could, if you want to get like right-wing crank enough, you could make it just like government.
Yeah,
it's the big United States government is occupying our beautiful free cities and our churches and our parishes or whatever. But you also can't do that when we're going to war with Iraq.
Exactly.
You have to be pro-government in that regard.
Yeah, because this is 2000. Man, we've already invaded Afghanistan. We're prepping, we're churning the engine for Iraq right now. You can't be against that. And then the whole way that Judaism functions in this is baffling, right? Because it's like, okay, you have one synagogue in Brooklyn. It's the only synagogue that exists, which is a stand-in for Second Temple Judaism, right? But by definition, calling it a synagogue implies that there's no temple. Like it's a
right. It's a synagogue,
right?
So that makes it sound like it would be an actual like Hasidic like it's the one that the guys were digging under a few months ago, where it's like it's all Chabad. And what's really interesting about this too is like they introduce this synagogue doing the water to wine story, and so we see this couple getting married. They're completely unimportant for the rest of the plot, but we spend a lot of time with that marriage scene because they did it in Fiddler, I guess. The rabbi is a black rabbi. Not unusual, they're black rabbis, but the service is conducted, the language, the cadence, everything is like a black church.
We are gathered here together on this glorious day under God the Father and the benevolence of Icon to join these two in holy matrimony. Can I get an amen? Huh? Can I get an amen? Now, sister, do you take this handsome man to be your lawfully wedded husband?
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, brother, do you take this fine, beautiful, deluxe, quality lady to be your lawfully wedded wife? Then by the power vested in me...
a Christian black church that is, however, a synagogue. So it's like there's a denomination of Judaism that's like African Methodist Rabbinical or something. Like,
and it's not interested in exploring this insane world building it's doing by accident, which is infuriating.
This is the last you ever see of that. And then at this point onward, you just have... the Caiaphas character being antagonistic to everything. And unfortunately for us, the Caiaphas character is not played by John Cooper from Skillet in the video production, although he is on the album.
No, you know what? Fortunately, because listening to the album versus that, I like what is it? Bill Buchanan? Is that his name? Yeah, Bill Buchanan from Fusebox. He's way better. He's way better. Come on.
Yeah.
John Cooper is I hate his voice. I fucking hate John Cooper.
That was one of the first concerts I went to, was a Skillet concert at a church in Albuquerque that had a skate park. And so there was like the concert grounds, the stage faced the skate park. And there was a point where John Cooper was like, everyone turn around and say, hey, yo, skaters, God loves you.
Oh, that sucks so
like,
bad.
I think they know this is the church skate park. Like, I think these guys are all already Christians.
One last thing I wanted to mention before we get diving into this too specifically was like, okay, so the choice to, again, do this weird thing with Judaism is like, again, I think doing all this is avoiding the actual interesting thing if you choose to set a Jesus narrative in the present. It's like, okay, if you actually want, and this is 2003, you want to point to a religious group that is collaborating with the existing state, it would be evangelicals, right? At this current moment, when this is coming out, and the present, it would be them. Like, if you want to stand in for that, it would be evangelicals, and they're never going to do that. So, like, ultimately, the point of this whole thing is to showcase where CCM is at in 2003. That's like what the actual function of this entire narrative is. So we'll go through the narrative,
it's like a
beats,
super
there's
group.
that. But really, the whole point is just like, we got T-Bone for this. Like, that's it. That's all that's going on here.
Right. Well, it's so much executive brain in it. It's like it's Eddie DeGarbo's creative outlet, but it's also like, how can we feature this generation of wonderful Christian performers that will appeal to a young and urban demographic.
They all love Paul Wright, as we know. The youths are really into Paul Wright.
Rebecca St. James. This was the point where I realized that VeggieTales was going off the rails, was when Rebecca St. James did a full like Easter musical for VeggieTales. And it was very dull. It was like, oh, they've run out of stories to tell at this point. This is just Rebecca St. James as she's not even a vegetable. Like, she's just like an angel ornament or something. Ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
How dare they? All right. So we open up on this title card that's explaining that we're in a world still awaiting a Messiah, and that the world government is now centralized under the International Confederation of Nations, or ICON. They have
the fucking Illuminati pyramid with the eye in it. That's in the video.
They're so, oh man. What is it with Christian media's obsession with that specific image? Because we talked about that briefly in the Under Oath episode too. They liked using that. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just part of that same sickness, that whole like Masonic conspiracy, UN, one world government. It's all there. It's the only thing that they can think of, and it's the stand-in that they have for the Roman Empire. That's what they think of every day instead of the Roman Empire is the UN and the dollar.
The UN is going to deploy a peacekeeping force on my block in Naperville, Illinois. They are going to steal my Blu-rays. They are going to turn my children trans. It's just all of it from top to bottom. Like, there is so much imagery deployed so irresponsibly throughout this entire show.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
And it really rides the line between like stupid and malicious. I can't tell.
Yeah. It's
it feels like there's definitely some if they're putting the fucking Illuminati eye in there, at the very least the projection designer is an anti-Semite, right? At the very least there is one person in this production who really, really hates Jews, and it's not unfair to believe that it goes all the way to the top of the creative process here. By which I mean the projection designer, the most important person in the room.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because this is full of projections. They're all like the worst, most shittily deployed. It's like being at church, right? It's just
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we put the screens on either side. There's nothing creative done with them. They don't really become the scenery. They just tell you, oh, we're at the Empire State Building now. Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're all in like the font from like the "you wouldn't steal a car" kind of thing. They're all in that font. It's awesome. So that's the background essentially of like what it is. Yeah. We get that like introduction kind of slides or whatever that kind of lay out what's going on here. We're set in New York, which is quasi police state riddled with quote ethnic gangs and revolutionaries. Which you don't really see much evidence of.
No. I like there's a quasi police. Why isn't it just a police state? Right? Yeah, and we should see I get what you're going for, the zealots and this idea of the Messiah that will save you. This does not factor into the plot. This does not factor into the world that is actually on that stage. And also, I don't understand quasi police state. Why wouldn't you just go all the way? It's a police state. Everything seems to have to pass through cops specifically.
And then we get the kind of like weird use of like, okay, and a young man, this Jesus figure begins to speak out against hate and injustice. We get this like weird use of like very liberal or left-wing coded language to describe what's like not obviously gonna be that. So that's our hero.
And they say that he promises personal freedom, which is like, I think that is sort of core to some element of Christianity, is sort of the individual is definitely a big part of that, but like just the term personal freedom is so loaded in the other direction, in the right-wing direction, that it's like, it's very like libertarian, again, not beating the anti-Semite allegations.
Not at all. No. But, he's also a champion of the people. You see, it's this weird eclectic use of phrases.
Well, but that's Jesus, man. He doesn't fit into your little box, dude.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And we open the play we open the opera on Agent Hunter, played by Paul Wright, who is a works for Icon, he's a police officer or something, right?
Yeah, he's Icon Police, and again, from what I remember of the comic books, he's the main character of those stories. So he has his little like wandering around the city doing the, I know this city shits blood and craps lightning and whatever.
Yeah.
And we're in a world with no hope, and the Jews are in charge of everything apparently. And like here it sort of feels like he's gonna be the main character. He's in his cell, and he's like, this is after everything has gone down. He's wearing his orange jumpsuit. The cell is great. Good bit of state, like this is the most that they've done for any kind of set, and it's this tiny wooden frame that has bars on it that is just in the middle of the stage, and he's just standing there rapping about this is how it happened, with very boring projections going on around him.
This is how it happened, how I met him, how we changed it all, yo.
Were you at all familiar with Paul Wright, the guy who plays Agent Hunter?
I think I've probably heard a song that he worked on, having looked him up now, but no, I was totally unfamiliar with him.
That's kind of where I was at. Like, I had to look it up and listen, and he was doing like acoustic hip hop. It just sounds like if Jack Johnson had like a drum track.
Yeah, he's like friends with tobyMac and has like appeared on tobyMac albums.
Yeah.
But no, and if I remember the album correctly, on the back they always sort of listed the person on the track and also what they were a part of, because they knew you wouldn't recognize them by their name, Yeah,
right. Which, unfortunately for Paul Wright, that's just Paul Wright, parentheses Paul Wright. And I guess also a couple tobyMac songs. But so we frame it that way. We get that kind of the framing device with Agent Hunter that is barely a framing device and will barely appear.
Yeah, it's straight up just the beginning and end. Nothing
he's
else.
Around
like
in the
he
middle.
Narrates the whole comic. He is the glue of that whole story. And here he is a character that sometimes gets a couple moments, like the love duet.
The most pointless piece of this entire thing.
And they really at that point the projections are trying to explain why this song is happening, and the titles on that screen just say "People Still Fall in Love." It's like, you may be wondering why this song is happening. It sucks shit. It has nothing to do with anything. But just remember, people do still fall in love.
In this
like,
world.
I'm Eddie DeGarmo. I write Christian songs. I don't get to write love songs. Just let me have this.
Now from here we are introduced to our Jesus figure, hero Jesus, Jesus hero, played by Michael Tait. So I think we gotta talk about Michael Tait real quick.
Yeah, this hits a little bit different than it has in the past.
Yeah. So I didn't get into this too much in the intro to Christian Rock episode because stuff was still coming out when we were recording that. We recorded that earlier than when I released it. So half of the allegations hadn't even fully come out at the time. So for those who don't know, Michael Tait was the lead singer of the Christian rap rock group in the 90s, DC Talk. You can go back to the intro to Christian Rock episode if you want to hear about them. In 2009, he joined Newsboys as their frontman, kind of making Newsboys into this like weird CCM super group.
Yeah. Probably the thing that brought him to the peak of his fame was that with the Newsboys, they all appeared as themselves in God's Not Dead, which had a tie-in album and title song.
Yeah. And that's for the real Newsboys heads. That's when Newsboys really starts to suck shit. Yeah. Like, we can argue about the 90s stuff, but nobody's like defending the 2010s stuff. Yeah, no, it gets rough. It gets terrible. But I mean, I also saw them live a bunch during that time because I would go to Winter Jam, and they were always playing at Winter Jam. They were always the headliner.
Of course.
So yeah, and so I was forced to see them live, and it kind of grew a hatred for a band that used to be like my favorite band when I was a kid because of that. Yeah. And so then I kind of stopped thinking about them, and then this year I suddenly had to think about them a bunch again, because so at the beginning of this year, in January, there's this TikTok account that like it sounds like it's just known for like outing gay people. So. Cool.
Well, it was someone who used to be in Christian entertainment.
Okay. What is it? Azaria Southworth?
Yeah. And he came out as gay and then lost whatever jobs that he had. I think he was doing some TV. I forget the name of the channel. This is a little bit after my time of having any awareness. So like this was all after I was like in college and stuff. And yeah, I guess more recently has just gotten into airing out a lot of the dirty laundry of the Christian music and Christian entertainment world, which is a lot of just like who is gay, which peoples are gays. Well, and it came with it was like, yeah, I'm outing Michael Tait, fuck him, he's a MAGA shithead, and also there's more to it, and then that was it. So it kind of sounded like, okay, Michael Tait was going to like big events and hitting on people, maybe being a creep, unclear, and then the reason that there was more to come was because there was an actual article being written. Multiple articles being written.
Written. And it was weird because then like that TikTok got pulled like really quickly, but the people who did see it saw it, and then abruptly Michael Tait was like, I'm leaving Newsboys by like mid-tour.
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's been such a great opportunity to be with Newsboys for so long, but it's finally time to come to an end. And through the rumor mill, people found out that like they had recorded most or all of an entire album, and then they were going back and re-recording without him. Right. So that's not just parting ways. That's not just someone is going off to rehab. That is, we have to strike this man from the record to save our asses.
Yeah, we are disowning this person. So there was this like the first half of this year, there was just a lot of rumblings of like, something bad's happening, huh? Like, we don't know what, but whatever. And then come June 4th is when the first report dropped, which was that Roy's report piece. They published this massive article. They interviewed 50 people, including 3 victims. And the report alleged that Michael Tait had been, heavily using drugs and had assaulted or made sexual advances on 3 men who had kept quiet for years out of fear.
And it was all like pretty young men. There was always like alcohol and or drugs involved in this. And like even thinking about like the dimension that alcohol is involved, you're talking about like 22-year-old Southern Baptist boys who have probably never had a drink in their life. And then all of a sudden, here's this guy, Michael Tait, who's like known as this nice guy. You know, he's just like
the coolest
always
guy in
smiling.
CCM.
Yeah.
He's the god of CCM.
Very gentle voice. You know, he just is like, and you know, I know a couple people who actually knew Michael Tait at some point in their lives, and like, yeah, just don't really think much of him other than he's a really nice guy until all this came out. And this so you know, he invites you to his house and he's like, hey, why don't you have a drink with me? Okay, why don't you have another drink? Why don't you have another drink? Why don't you have another drink? And you've never had alcohol before in your life, and then he takes advantage of that situation. You know, either you're not able to resist or you're unconscious. And yeah, I mean, this part didn't really break into mainstream just yet. It wasn't until the next story.
Yeah, because it was then on June 10th, so like 6 days later. So maybe I don't know if it broke mainstream quite yet, but on June 10th, Michael Tait put a confession on Instagram, where he's like, yeah, I did all that, but also in a very like, well, we all sin. And I'm calling it what it is. Sin.
Some degree of denial of like the more criminal allegations. That's just like, yeah, you know, as a Christian, I struggle with, you know, because he's always been single too, right? This has always been kind of a question that's following him around. Is Michael Tait gay? And he's like, yes, I've struggled with urges and addictions and things like that. And I went to a rehab facility for both the sex stuff and the alcohol stuff. It's in Utah. And it's like, of course it is.
Yeah.
It's like the rehab. It gets you off of the gay thoughts. It gets you off the alcohol. It gets you off of coffee. You know, anything that the that the prophet has warned us against.
Well, and what's really frustrating too is like, because he just like owned up to it, you have like good chunk of the evangelical world willing to just be like, well, there you go. He owned it.
Yeah.
You know, and if I think more didn't keep coming out, there would have maybe been, he disappears a couple years and comes back, and everybody's like, look, he sought forgiveness.
Absolutely.
It's all good now.
Absolutely. He's not gay anymore. It's fine. And that's part of the whole consequence of flattening any kind of sexual impropriety or any kind of extramarital sexual behavior with stuff that is far more horrifying and far more violent, right? Like the question of consent becomes more or less irrelevant when you frame all of this stuff up simply as sexual sin.
Yeah, because it lumps varying degrees of stuff into just one thing. And so he's able to own up to, I fucked dudes, but it's like, that's not really the issue. Like, I know in the evangelical world it is, but if you were having consensual sex with men, I don't care. I would care maybe that you're a hypocrite, that you're going about being, you know, a massive homophobic voice and also doing that. I'd care about that, but like, I don't really care. But when it's like you are taking advantage of people, you're raping people, like that's obviously a different type of quote sin. And so then, on June 13th, now we start to get some mainstream press attention. The Guardian published their own report. And they interviewed 25 people. They confirmed the original 3, and then added that one of those original 3 was 16 years old at the time, you know, had been a minor. And then they went on to add that 4 other people accused Tait of fondling or making passes at them, and dropped the line, you know, that this was the biggest open secret in Christian music, was basically what everybody that got interviewed was saying. And then on June 19th, the Roy's report came back with an even worse report.
A really, really detailed one with legal corroboration. Just an intricate crime, right? Something that has so many levels to it.
And this is where we're getting into, this is why I have put a content warning at the beginning of this episode. So Roy's report brought forward that Tait had drugged a woman and watched her be raped by the Newsboys lighting technician, Matthew Brewer. And then it also alleged that the tour manager, Steve Campbell, helped cover up the incident. So that's where we're at allegations-wise, I think. I don't know if anything else has come out since.
Because this had been reported to police the next day, and police didn't do much, there was still at least stuff on file. So they were able to uncover video surveillance footage from the hallway of the hotel where that incident happened. And you can, like, it's a lot, and it's damning, I guess, in the eyes of the law. Wasn't that in Iowa?
Oh, was it? Fuck, I
Was
actually
it-
didn't know that.
It might have been. What was it? At least one of the incidents was at Sunshine Festival in Wilmer.
Okay.
I can't remember if it was the most serious of the allegation. I mean, they're all even those initial ones just really hint at there's got to be something worse that's not coming out.
I think
'cause
so.
It was just it was so clear that this is something he has done a lot.
For many years, many years, probably even going back to the 90s.
Yeah, I don't feel like this specific, like this allegation of the drugging and raping is like something that it sounds so well executed that it doesn't seem like something that was being done for the first time. Obviously, we'll find out if more comes out, but this all gestures at probably more of it. And so, newsboys are scrambling to distance themselves from it. Although, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know, but like, I can't imagine this ends with the lighting technician and the tour manager.
No, like this. I mean, so the label has dropped, Newsboys.
Okay.
They're I would say they seem like they're DOA, but like Josh Borman from my podcast, he found a video today and just sent it to me. That was the Newsboys, the remaining Newsboys, the ones left standing, in Arizona just a few weeks ago, like at the end of June. Mm-hmm. Everyone's like cheering for them and whatever. And they're like, they have this sort of prepared statement that they're saying, oh yeah, back in January, our friend Michael came to us saying that he had some problems and needed to check into rehab in the spirit of brotherly, blah, 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 all that kind of language. And then, we're finding out about, I'm just now hearing this for the first time. We're finding out the same as all of you from these news articles. And now our names are being dragged through the mud and our concerts are being canceled left and right. But at least we're able to be here with you tonight here in Arizona. And it just all sounds like bullshit, top to bottom. Like, because a couple of the articles mention the fact that like drinking and drug use is pretty regular among the Newsboys, among most CCM acts, in the same way that they are for most acts in general. Always a little bit of alcohol, always a little bit of cocaine going around. And so I think they're even denying that. They're saying, no, we are the good boys you have always assumed us to be. Please let us keep making these albums,
Yeah. We just had a fucked up friend and we just didn't know how bad it was.
We didn't know. He just said he needed to go to rehab, Yeah.
I highly doubt that. Yeah, I highly doubt it's they knew that little. I think even like what I was saying is the like least I can imagine is that, because I think they made a comment where it was like Michael Tait had told them that he was living a double life and that was why he was stepping down or whatever. And for me personally, if I was in a huge, massive band and a bandmate of mine immediately left mid-tour and said he was leaving a double life, I would know damn well something bad is about to come out. Right.
Yeah.
Like, so I think no matter what, they probably knew more than they're letting on, because like, I don't think you're that stupid. Even if you were hearing that for the first time, you hear that, you go, uh-oh.
Yeah. You're dropping him overnight between engagements and re-recording songs that he recorded with you.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, our friend just has to go to rehab and had to leave the band. No, that is, we got to get rid of this guy. This shit's really bad and it's going to come back to us.
So sorry for that incredibly depressing detour here, but I did feel like I wanted to make sure we went through what the allegations actually were rather than just kind of throw them aside, especially because Michael Tait's the main character here.
He's Jesus.
You can't get past Michael Tait while watching this. He is this show in a lot of ways.
And here he comes out. He's singing Jesus stuff.
I've been burning with this mission all my life. Divine adventure has begun. But even now it's in this clearly in my sight.
And you have these two guys sitting at a table, Jude and Petrov, who are, of course, Judas Iscariot. I don't like using Jude for Judas Iscariot because Jude is what we use for the other Judas. That was one of the 12. But whatever. So Jude and Petrov, Judas Iscariot and Peter. Petrov is great because here we see him wearing a Confederate flag t-shirt. And once he follows Jesus, you'll see him come back on and he's wearing an American flag t-shirt.
I love this because this is one of those aspects that's like both terribly aged and also would be called woke if it was done today.
Yeah.
By the same people that were watching this.
He'd still be wearing the Confederate flag afterwards now.
It would just like have a cross also or something. It would be Petrov is of course played by Mark Stuart of Audio Adrenaline. I'm not an Audio Adrenaline fan, so I can't say much to that. They kind of suck. Sorry. They wrote Big House, and I can never forgive them for that.
Yeah, Big House is just an awful song. I went to a camp that also did like an adapted version of Big House because like half the kids there were native, so they made it into like it wasn't in Navajo. It was just like full of like local cultural references. So instead of like big table with lots and lots of food, it was big table with lots and lots of stew. Big yard where we can play res ball. It's a big house. It's my Nolly's house, like it's just a song I sang too many times with too many variants. And then one time in college, Josh Borman and I got very, very drunk and started singing Big Cock and You Can Cup the Balls. It's my father's cock. And that's...
Oh my God.
That's so good.
And my Catholic girlfriend at the time was like, what the fuck are you singing right now?
Oh, it's so good. We also, Jude is played by Michael Quinlan, who is the guy we were talking about earlier. And I think one of the standout performances in this. He's so fun. Yeah, he's so fun.
Yeah, once he's given the room to do the Judas Iscariot stuff. Like he doesn't have a lot of fun in this first half, but like second half, we're having a great time with him.
Yeah,
he's bringing that. It's always great to see a bald guy on stage. I think this is Michael Cerveris built an entire career on Broadway off of this. Yul Brynner.
He's so good in this. But not showing it off yet. Not able to. So we get just this kind of song just of Jesus showing how he likes everyone and he gets his disciples. Here we go.
It's a few good men. A lot of weird military imagery too. In with the I mean, and again, this is more a function of like the screens in the background just doing like MK Ultra montage the entire time.
Just getting sissy hypnoed during this entire musical.
There's some baffling stuff going on in that. It makes me think of God, that Newsboys concert video they did around Step Up to the Microphone. They would do like a lot of that where it'd just be like weird, surreal like images projected for a while. I don't know. It reminded me of that.
Projection designers were eating good through the 90s. Like they were in the CCM world. No one else was doing this. This was just like this was for like when you'd package a song with just the instrumental track for someone to sing at church to be their backing track, and you could have the video that has the lyrics going at the same time.
Oh my, okay, that's another part of the corporate synergy going on. They're also selling head of music publishing. He's trying to sell tablature and graphics packs as well. You too can put on your own production of Hero. The Christian rock opera.
This is the stuff that kept mini discs on the market for like another decade.
Because everybody is like, I liked Hero, but I want to see it in a small town church in Iowa and without T-Bone.
Dude, I was convinced this was just in a mega church sanctuary until they were like filmed at the Berry Theater in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, because it was just so like, they just did this in a church. That's why the production sucks ass.
It's that's why there's the screens up there.
Church style. And then it's like, you made a theater look like that?
You did this on purpose.
Well, we go from that to one of the fun songs in this. We got the wedding celebration.
Hey y'all, let's celebrate.
Now it is time to get down.
Holla.
Hey y'all, let's celebrate. Two people are in love.
Come on, y'all, let's celebrate.
Hey y'all, let's celebrate. Like a party from above.
Everybody get ready, better celebrate. Come on.
Hey y'all, let's celebrate.
This shit was so fun. So, like, this is the thing is I ended up having way more fun watching this than I thought I was going to. And I'm not saying it's good, to be clear, but some of these songs are just like, this is fun. This is fun.
That's the frustrating thing is there's not no talent on display. It's just weirdly deployed.
Yeah.
Like there's clearly like experienced songwriters involved. There's talented vocalists, but they're never in the right part for them. Just none of it coheres, and so it goes down smooth. It's not good, but it goes down smooth.
It is very smooth.
Yeah. In this song, we get Nerva from Seth and Nerva, which was a CCM husband-wife duo. That was part of a running theme at a lot of people who appear in this. Part of TobyMac's Diverse City band.
Okay.
Oh man.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to do a TobyMac like Diverse City episode at some point.
Yeah.
Caleb and I were having so much fun showing Jackal Diverse City stuff at one point, and I think I want to bring him on to that. He was like, you know what, TobyMac's okay. You know, this soulful white boy. It also includes Grits. I don't know if they're in the actual stage version we watched or if it was only on the album. But if you're unfamiliar, Grits is the artist that brought you
My life be like.
My Life Be Like Ooh Ah. If you've heard that in Tokyo Drift and various other random media objects from the 2000s.
You know, hey, good for Grits.
Good for Grits. It's kind of a fun, it's a fun song. Why not? Whatever.
Tokyo Drift, good movie, fine experience.
I don't know anything else they've done, but I do know they did that.
No, it's another one of those names that I've heard once. And yeah, Nerva plays Mary, the mother of Jesus here.
That's right.
It is something to say about this moment in Christian entertainment and Christian culture that like having a diverse cast and having a black Jesus and black Mary is just not a big deal. It's just like,
well,
Jesus and Mary are black in this.
Well, and it's kind of crazy because like Michael Tait, had dropped a line where in one of the things I'd read for this, where he was talking about like hating going to white churches and always seeing the like lily white Jesus, and he's like, Jesus would look like what these people think a terrorist looks like. And again, how is that
Michael
guy
Tait
saying
said that?
Michael Tait said that. What the fuck?
Yeah, because I feel like his image after that point is always sand everything down. Like no friction between me and anyone else in this world. It's all just about the love. It's all just about how much we love Jesus. No criticism to be found whatsoever. And thank you, Mr. Donald Trump. You're just such a great guy.
You're so good. Yeah. It's so wild. Like, it's so wild what he turned into because, he had moments where he would say shit like that, and it's, I don't know. I mean, I guess he was always a piece of shit, but
it's very possible. I guess someone has to start doing something at some point, but damn.
Yeah, I don't know. I think like when you actually talk about people who are like pushing for more diversity in CCM or whatever, though, I do think TobyMac is actually the bigger player there because he was the one who started Goatee Records, which was like one of the only CCM record labels that was signing a bunch of black artists. So funny enough, TobyMac was actually, I think there's a reason a bunch of these artists, when you look at them on Wikipedia, the only other thing they did is stuff with TobyMac. He was the guy that was actually trying to cultivate these artists. So,
and I think it's because TobyMac is just genuinely pretty bored with the mainstream CCM scene, right? He wants he wants more genres to be present. He wants hip hop to be present, and he wants some degree of like authenticity and innovation, and not just a million Michael W. Smith songs with a bunch of strings and piano.
Yeah. It's wild how much space there was for this and how so much of this is just completely inconceivable now. Because even there's something about that stylization with the exclamation point. They're using it instead of the cross. Like but it's a weird. I don't know what they're trying to do, because spoiler alert, they crucify him on a street sign at the end. Right. So it's like, wouldn't you want to use the street sign?
Yeah.
And then it's like exclamation point, and then at the end he's wearing like a bullseye or just like these concentric circles.
Yeah, the Ubisoft logo. Yeah. Why wouldn't that be an exclamation point, right? There's no like unity of whatever image they're trying to go with here. I didn't even think about the exclamation point as being a replacement for the cross, but that makes so much more sense.
That makes sense.
As something he would use before he dies, I guess. I don't know. Speaking
of strange uses of imagery, let's talk about Rabbi Kai real quick. Now, I get, like, when you do a passion narrative, it's difficult to not accidentally stumble into some anti-Semitic tropes, but that doesn't mean you put a Star of David on a guy's giant hat.
It's there's a hint of Black Israelite to the aesthetic they create.
The way the hat is designed and kind of the robes that it does have that BHI feel to it, and also because Caiaphas in this stage production being played not by the Skillet guy but by a Black performer, like I don't know if they would have had that same design if it was Cooper. But
dude, that's an image I gotta know if it exists. Is Brian Cooper wearing a giant hat with a Star of David on it?
It's a really weirdly like sloppy Star of David. It looks like they made it out of shoelaces.
It looks more like the heartogram from him. Like it looks more like Bam Margera's tattoo of the heartogram from him.
So despite the horrifying costume design here, I think he does a pretty good job with this. Bill why do I keep blanking on his name? Bill Buchanan does a pretty good job with this. I'm so happy we're seeing Bill Buchanan and not John Cooper.
This is interesting because they've decided to make this is like the one real liberty that they've taken with the gospel, which is like they have Jesus go straight up to Caiaphas the high priest and have this argument with him and then get the shit beat out of him early on in his ministry.
During the Fire of Love song. It's weird.
Yeah.
They certainly made a lot of choices. Like, choices were made. But there's no through line to any of them.
No, and there's never any like flow musically. It's just like one song, the next song, the next song. This is a problem that sung through musicals have, all the way through like Hamilton and things like that. It's just like the next moment is happening, but dramatically we haven't been like taken there. There hasn't been a transition. And here, whatever transitions were on stage were just edited out. Like, there are definitely moments where it's like, well, Michael Tait had to change his clothes there, but we just kind of cut.
Well, and also, like, I think it makes songs out of stuff that probably don't need a song, and then doesn't make songs out of stuff that should have a song. So, like, if you were listening to the album version of this and not getting the brief little bits of dialogue that's happening in the stage performance, Jude betraying Jesus comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Because all of that happens between songs where he's briefly talking to Caiaphas.
Yeah, we have these like, I don't know, maybe 3 dialogue scenes in this whole show, with 2 of them being right next to each other in the second act.
Yeah.
One of them being like the guy being Peter proclaiming hero as the son of God, and the other ones being Judas and Caiaphas going about their scheme or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's an interesting idea with Judas too, where he's like, he wants to give Hero more legitimacy. He's like, you got to sell out, man. That's right. He's like because this is of course something a musician would come up with, which is like, you need to sell out. You need to become corporate, dude. And then Hero being like, I'm not going to do it, man. And then that's when the betrayal happens.
That would really actually live up to what this is supposedly being, which is like, Gen X Jesus Christ Superstar. It's like, yeah, what is it going to be? It's going to be about, are you selling out or not, man? I don't know. Like, come on.
Are you staying authentic? Like.
Yeah, and this guy's the guy that wants to give you the studio deal. He wants to sell your soul. Like, this fits so nicely into a Jesus narrative. Why didn't they do more with it?
Yeah, at the end, Petrov comes out with a T-shirt that has the Adbusters corporate flag on it.
Fuck. We also get after this ballad, like, I don't know, song thing between Nerva and Hero. That I only now realize only exists to make sense of them bringing that song back toward the end when Hero dies.
Yeah,
And
it's their little pietà moment.
That's like so worked backwards. It feels like because backwards engineered, because like it's such a pointless song in this first act.
Yeah,
and it's only there to be referenced later. I think because like why is she randomly saying I'll die for you or whatever, or we'll die for each other? Why? What happened?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Also, right. One of two kind of Nightman cometh moments in this show where there's like weird romantic chemistry between two characters that are blood relatives. But even though they're I mean, Tait's kind of a anti-charisma at the center of this show. Like he's singing the songs, but like he's getting outperformed by everybody else on stage.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about like the way Andrew Lloyd Webber writes Jesus, who doesn't sing a whole ton out of that score, right? Because it's more Judas focused. But whenever Jesus sings, it's always fucking big, right?
Yeah,
with the culmination being Gethsemane. And Tait doesn't have that. Well, he kind of has it in him. You find out in the second act when he trashes the temple, he's got a little bit of that actual rock and roll belt in him. But I mean, when he comes out in his first song, it almost feels like he's lip syncing because he's so technically proficient, but he's just not doing anything. He's just sort of out there smiling and singing, and it all has, and there's a problem with also having Rebecca St. James. She's not a belter. You're having people who have a lot of singing that they're doing in their mix or in their head voice, or they just have a sort of gentle register that they like to stay in because that's very popular in the CCM world. And you don't have anyone out there who's like either really like a hard rocker, they don't have anyone from Stryper out there, and they don't have any like Broadway style musical talent here. They don't have people who are going to belt.
Yeah, I think so much of the energy comes from the like rappers they drag in and barely have a role, but they just hype everything up. I like that. That's so much of where like the wedding celebration works better than a lot of the songs, just because you have a bunch of dudes hyping you up the whole time, and it's like, yeah, this is fun. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
But when it's just these long ballads that it keeps doing,
I think that's Eddie DeGarmo. That's all of these early Jesus music guys. They write this really, because they're kind of, they're rock, but they're more kind of in that folky 1970s scene.
Yeah, right.
And it's all nice and it's pretty and it's soft and it never changes. It never gets more energetic and it never gets big and crazy. And that's what I want. I want a Jesus musical that gets crazy and trashes the set, but that exists, and Andrew Lloyd Webber did it. And then Stephen Schwartz also kind of did it.
Yeah. And it's, to be honest, like the more we talk about this, the more I'm kind of like, I should rewatch Jesus Christ Superstar. Like, I'm just like, that's kind of like this if it was good.
It's the only show where you'll hear me praising Andrew Lloyd Webber, honestly.
Yeah,
it's like an actual work of brilliance from the first note to the last, and then everything else he ever did. I make me want to say actionable things about him.
Right. Yeah. We got another Agent Hunter song here real quick. He kind of comes in and it's supposed to be him narrating, but what it is just him going
it's that guy.
There's something about this Jesus guy, and then he goes away. And then it's kind of like that throughout the whole thing. So that's Man on a Mission. And then we get to this awesome one, which is Secrets of the Heart. This is where Mary Magdalene tries to fuck Hero.
Mister, I don't think I knew you. I've never seen you around. Can I give you comfort? I'll tell of your future.
This tells us we're in Spanish Harlem very helpfully. Right. And Rebecca St. James comes out in her like Disney Channel approved horror costume. which it's all tights. You know, she's like a short skirt, but she's got like 5 layers of tights underneath, like a drag queen.
This is one of the funniest aspects of this whole thing. Is like their way of trying to convey risque without actually being risque, you know?
It also comes off as like very juvenile. Like the fashion just feels very middle school.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. Like, I don't know if I could, pledge my life to a savior in bootcut jeans. Like,
well, like I worked background on a Disney Channel movie once when I was in college. That was a whole thing. Was like, okay, here's the clothes that you brought in, and it's like whatever a teenager in New Mexico in 2010 would have, and they'd be like, okay, so yeah, you can do this, we're gonna put this on underneath it, or we're gonna add this layer to it. So like basically every girl on set, if she had something that had kind of a V shape but that showed like a clavicle, she'd have a t-shirt on underneath that blouse, or like a long sleeve under a short sleeve. And it was a whole like Disney style guide that even for the extras the dressers had to work with. And that's the same style guide that you had whenever you had to go on a World Changers trip with your church group. And they were like, no tankinis, nothing. You had to wear something with, they had regulations on the straps that you could have on your clothes. And then the guys, it was like, well, you're wearing cargo shorts and a t-shirt every day anyway, so don't worry.
You're good. Be mindful. I don't know.
Just don't have a beer brand on the shirt, which...
It's just so you have that vibe, and it just doesn't work. Like I don't know, I think this is something you just would have had to rework or something. If you're gonna not be more explicit, you can't have a roving gang of prostitutes that all look like they're dressed like Disney Channel stars.
And there's so much choreography too, but it can't actually be sexy. It just has to be kind of kinetic. And the way that this is shot and edited, you don't get to really see much of that choreography at all. But what you do get to see is pretty fucking great.
Oh man! So after that, we get the miracle, the miracle with the hungry vet, who stands. This song is done on the album version by Matt Hammett of Sanctus Real, but in this version they just had some guy.
Named Shannon Bain.
Yeah, he's also the icon officer, chief police officer guy we get
Devlin.
later.
Is it Devlin? Oh, guess what he is? We named him Devlin.
The
what
whole
does that
time,
remind you of?
The whole time I'm watching, I'm like, okay, so this is Pontius Pilate, and then no, Pontius Pilate's a different dude who's way more interesting and who we haven't seen. We see for like 5 minutes.
The whole time.
He's got a wheelchair,
like a
and eye
Metal Gear
patch.
Solid character.
And he sings like the Hades stuff in Hades Town. Like he's got the bass line. Like, come on, dude, why were we spending any time with Devlin?
Shannon Bain is just like kind of a guy in a suit, like in a military cop-like suit, who's just always like, I don't know, I guess being intimidating, but he's not really. He's just kind of there. But in this, we see him dressed up like he's on a wheel thing. They wheel him out.
It's a furniture cart.
A furniture cart.
They dug that out of like a storage room in that theater the night of the show.
And he's like, they're kind of compressing miracles, which fine, whatever. So he's like both blind and not able to walk simultaneously, so that they could just be like, bam, okay, we did that miracle.
Jesus tells him to stand up and walk, but he says it in a way that starts to imply a certain personal responsibility angle.
Yeah.
That's like, actually... you gotta work. The Lord helps those who help themselves, brother.
real weird energy.
Find a little courage if you wanna get well. You gotta stand up and walk. Don't let nobody hold you down. Get on your feet. Your day has finally come around. Keep a little faith. Wake up to a better day.
It's like earlier, it's one of those weird evangelical points of not actually doctrine, but earlier on he really emphasizes I'm not a political savior. you know, which was their, that was, it's like here to bring spiritual renewal. And it's just like, the same thing. Like, okay, yeah, you're a bum, but like, be
better.
We'll help you, but you gotta turn that around, bud. Like,
no welfare, none of that shit.
Get a job.
Yeah, that one's good.
No handouts, just hand ups.
That's right.
You can walk now. Take a bath, hippie.
Then we get chief of the chief of police, Devlin or whatever, scheming with Rabbi Kai, starting around here with the song "Do What You Got to Do." Just as like a vague, like semi-offensive sounding Middle Eastern vibe that I don't know what they're doing with. Like it sounds cool if I'm not thinking about it. And then when I'm thinking about, like, why are you bringing this out at this moment? And you've got, like, these dancers doing weird, like, I don't know. There's a lot of weird Orientalism going on.
They're all women, and they all have their heads covered in something kind of resembling a hijab.
Yeah.
But then also they're just sort of wearing their, like, black leotard underneath. It's like a half of an idea there, whatever it is.
They're like doing these like weird motions and like I don't know, like stances. I don't know.
There's a lot of they're doing stuff from like Egyptian hieroglyphs at one point. Yep.
And this is what I mean, like we were meaning by the whole like just using imagery in such weird ways. Like we'll get to some more offensive ones, but it's just like, what was the point of all this? I think. Did you just think it was cool? Like I don't know.
So I mean, this is the stupid and malice divide. Like, is this that like right? Are they intentionally trying to be like, Icon is actually secretly Muslim and Sharia or whatever, or did they just kind of lift it as like Eddie DeGarmo was just half watching 24 and is just like. That what is it the oud or the I can't remember the instrument, but like those motifs. Is it just like that's what a villain theme is now? Like I mean, is it pointed or is it just because like all bad guys at this time in movies and television were Middle Eastern and Muslim coded and not even coded but just straight up
straight up.
Because it's like they're.
Because it's like if this whole thing is a stand-in for ancient Jerusalem, then it all should be Middle Eastern, right? It should all have some sort of Middle Eastern influence, but it only shows up when you have the guy with the Star of David on his hat.
Right.
Okay, and this is the essential problem of this whole experience, because here's the thing. Everything we just described, terrible. More interesting, though, than what you get right after that, which is just another fucking boring ballad. And that's the whole thing, is it's like, when it's interesting, it's baffling.
Yeah.
And then when it's not interesting, it's just a goddamn ballad.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a church recital level stuff going on here.
So I'm skipping Take My Hand. I have nothing to say about that. I was like, we're doing another one of these? Okay.
I don't even have a note for it, because my next note just goes straight to the Sermon on the Mount bit. So
yeah. So then, we hop over there. We get Love's Declaration, which is the Sermon on the Mount song. And he's straight up just singing the Sermon on the Mount. There's not like much innovation or doing much with it.
This is classic Jesus music kind of thing. This is something you'd get a lot in the 70s.
Yep. Blessed are the meek, etc. You know this.
Yep.
And then and then there's this chunk that's just cut out, because right after that song is then Jude talking to Rabbi Kai, which is like, doesn't get any that should have a song.
Yeah.
I kind of think the Sermon on the Mount you could just go quickly through, because we all know that, obviously. You could do that as a spoken part, and then you start like, I don't know, then you show Jude walking off, and then you start the song, and they're he's talking to Caiaphas. I don't know.
Yeah, thinking theatrically, using the whole stage, having momentum from one moment to the next. Yeah.
I have no theater experience. No, I have no. I think the only musical I know is Jesus Christ Superstar. Like, okay? And I'm even like, you could do more with this, man. Like, this medium is much more malleable than this.
Like, I mean, and this is a story that's captured the collective imagination for 2,000 years now.
2,000 years.
Like,
Yeah.
this should be a slam dunk. You should be able to do this well enough.
You are on home territory right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is easy mode. Making a CCM Jesus musical?
Maybe that's the problem, though. There's no friction here. Everyone hears this and they're like, yeah, isn't that great? It praises the Lord. I'm not going to criticize it beyond that. And
Right.
then you just like suddenly you're touring it around the country with all of the biggest names in CCM. And no one actually likes it, but they're like, but it's the Lord. We all like the Lord.
I mean, like, I guess this is like kind of a spoiler for later, but I mean, they cut to the crowd occasionally and like nobody's really understanding what's going on.
No.
They're just like, oh, okay. They seem like vaguely entertained that there's movement and color up front. Like, because even when they're doing the standing O, it's just so obligatory. They're like, well, it's the end of the show. This is what we do now.
Yeah, that's what you do. They all worked very hard. We got to see Rebecca St. James, and they proclaimed the godhood of Jesus. So yeah, we got to stand up for that.
Well, I mean, we'll get to this when we get to that end, but I mean, part of the problem there is it doesn't really feel like an end. It's just like this thing fizzles out and it sucks. And it's such a bummer because, like, come on. And if you're doing the passion narrative, the passion and resurrection should really be like when you bring out all the guns. And
Yeah, you get the fucking hallelujah chorus going. You got to have something that's like on that level.
But then it kind of just ends, and then the lights come up, and I was expecting another song, and then that was them all coming out.
Curtain call. Yeah.
Curtain call.
Yeah, because some musicals will do like a curtain call song. You know, Dance of the Vampires does that. I don't know why Hero's too good for something that Dance of the Vampires can do.
Oh, shit. Okay, we got the T-Bone song, though. Real quick. Raised in Harlem. You know what? Kind of a banger. I kind of like this one. This one's fun.
Got the faith that you can heal my daughter. I'm down on my knees begging you, please. I need a blessing. I'm tired of stressing. Besides, my daughter's just an adolescent. I was raised in Harlem. Yo, my baby's lying in the streets bleeding.
Yeah, they lean a little too much into him being raised in Harlem, and I was like, is T-Bone from Harlem? Is that why they're doing this? No, he's from San Francisco.
No. Okay. Good point. Fine. That's fair.
But of course, this is all setting up the double meaning because the girl is dead, and then she gets raised
In Harlem. That's the play on words there. And you know what? I had a lot of fun with this song. I was like, this is one of the moments in it where I'm like, I'm having a good time. This is fun to watch.
There's a story being told. There's a thing happening. He's like appealing to Jesus. They go from one place to another place, and then he does something.
I know your heart is breaking, but this girl, she's only sleeping. If you'll just give us both a minute or two. Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is the most like even the wedding ceremony one. If you're not paying too much attention, you might not even realize water gets turned into wine because it's just like, woo, we're celebrating. Like,
it's just Kool-Aid too. Like obviously there was money that went into this. It all went to the projections, I guess. Very, very highly paid projection engineers. And you could have done something really cool with the water to wine trick, and it's just straight up Kool-Aid.
God, it sucks.
He just has the Kool-Aid powder at the bottom of the receptacle, and he pours the water in, and it's kind of pinkish.
This one, it's like easier because you have a woman lying on the ground dead, and then she gets up. and you go, I see what happened.
Look at that. And the chorus is going nuts too. Like there's so much ography happening in this scene.
You know she was. My baby was.
It's got a lot of hype to it. It's fun. It's
which that's what Jesus is up to, right? He's getting hyped. He's getting more attention. He's doing these big, crazy things. And people are going nuts for it. That makes sense. Make this the rest of the musical.
This is what the whole musical should feel like, is like this kind of scene. Because it should be like with Jesus Christ Superstar, it has that vibe too. It's everybody's always singing, who is this guy? It's I don't know. There's an energy around him.
Yeah.
And it's not in this.
Right. I'm already like here. I mean, here's an idea about how you structure this. Okay, you want to tie in the New York thing, and like we talked about the, selling out, going big. You make Jesus like a punk musician, and like have all the miracles take place in increasingly bigger venues, and then you cap it off in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
like,
there you go.
Like it simple. You sense a place. All it's just like,
nope,
man.
No. I think that's what's pissing me off as we're doing this, is that I do think that you could make an okay musical with the same like premise of like, okay, it's Jesus Christ Superstar, but with like 90s and early 2000s music.
Yeah.
You could do something with that would be a lot of fun. And this is in that.
Yeah, and I think there's an idea of even setting it as like, Jesus didn't show up until now. I think you just have to avoid specifics. You just have to not necessarily define America as America. You just make it all look like the modern day, like New York City.
Yeah.
And you say, this is the guy on, Jesus even says, I'm that guy on the street, right? The one who's hungry, and you feed him. Just play that out. Play out that idea, play up the idea, like the ecstatic nature of all of this, the incredible magic of performing a miracle. And instead it's all the same sort of soft, isn't Jesus so great, Dove Awards shit. Like it's a fucking Wow album with a story.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, we get more of that. We get more of that with They're Calling Him Hero. This is where Agent Hunter comes back out and he goes, "You see this shit? You see the shit that's been happening? Pretend if I narrated it. I do."
He raised the girl from the dead. He sings at the race and he stops and he prays and he says there's a way that we all could be changed. It's like the whole world's got their eyes on him. It seems like it's all just beginning. People flock to his
right.
show.
He adds nothing. Like even his first song is like, I am introducing the play now.
Yeah.
I'm and even, man, it's just right. You think about like, I don't know, because that could be cool. The double agent working both sides. Like you can kind of make a storyline out of that. They never explore any of the tension inherent to the character.
Yeah,
he's just kind of around.
He's supposed to be surveilling Jesus because miracles are against the law in the world of this musical, and. So he should be the one reporting to Caiaphas in the first act, not Judas Iscariot, right? Maybe even this cop recruits Judas Iscariot, and then at the same time that Judas flips and betrays, this cop flips.
Why do we keep accidentally making a better
one
whenever we talk about this?
I'm a dramaturg, that's the thing. It's like it's in my nature to do this shit.
That's so much better because you can have the tension of one guy going toward. And okay, I don't, not to jump too far ahead, but one thing that drives me nuts is that they don't make Agent Hunter be the guy that says, "Surely, truly, this man was the Son of God" at the crucifixion. When I thought that's where they're setting it up. I thought that's where they were setting that up. Yeah, that makes way more sense to me. And that could be the moment, right? Where like while Judas is contemplating suicide for betraying, then you cut to like Agent Hunter's the one who's like, "Oh my God, this was the Son of God,"
Yeah.
Terrible.
Because I'm realizing now he's supposed to be Paul, and that's part of what makes this so weird is like his role, because he ends up in prison, right? I mean, he's also supposed to be the modern Christian who's going to be imprisoned any day now because he's a Jesus freak, but like that's what he's fulfilling in terms of his role in the story is he's the one writing it all down. He is the witness, even though Paul wasn't a direct witness, and he's doing it from prison because he got put in prison for being too woke for Jesus.
That's right.
Yeah. They blew it.
But you know what? They did follow this up with a song where they shoot hot dogs into the audience.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't argue with that.
Michael Tait with the hot dog cannon subtext.
But I think the entire production that has the same attitude to subtext that Garth Marenghi does. And
I love that's like the first time unless I was looking away at an earlier shot, this is like the first time we see the house, like we see the audience sitting in the theater. It's like, oh, this actually was shot in front of a group of people, and they're all looking like, oh, the cameras are on us now. Oh, he's shooting hot dogs at us now. Great, cool, okay.
This is supposed to be the feeding the 5,000,
Yeah.
to be clear in the
this,
narrative.
This scene has this weird. The titles tell us that they're in Times Square, and nothing else does. There's a strange little animated man on the projections that they they didn't ever zoom in close enough on. I'm really fascinated by whatever's going on there. And the song sounds like something a group of Hare Krishnas would sing. Like, this is another point where it is interesting because it's super weird. In which case, like, as a New York thing, that wouldn't be Times Square, that would be Union Square, but that's where the Hare Krishnas hang out. But, like, it feels like they're, again, it's going back to the 70s Jesus music thing that DeGarmo used to write all the time, where it's hippie, it's folky, it's a little strange, and it's a little bit against the tastes of CCM and against, most evangelical churches. And I'm fascinated by it. It's like here is a cult hanging out in Times Square preaching about Hero,
and he's brought hot dogs. He's gonna feed him with hot dogs,
blasting you with hot dogs,
whether you asked for it or not.
Look, these are the kind of gimmicks I want more of in this. To be fair, though, that's great. Like,
more meat.
Fine, feeding the 5,000 by bringing a hot dog can. Come on, fuck yeah, whatever.
Yeah. That's like when I saw Natasha Pierre in The Great Comet of 1812, which is based on 5 chapters out of War and Peace. They like throw pierogies out into the audience before the show starts.
Hell yes, amazing. That's awesome.
And they all start singing Yahweh over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that could have been a point where it's like you have some people off to the side that's like, you can't say the name. This is illegal. You're being arrested now.
You could do this. Yeah. There.
Oh, it's also where Judas is wearing his Jude t-shirt. Sorry, I have so many notes from this one song.
You're good. Go ahead.
Because Judas has a shirt that just has the word Jude over like the shoulders, over and over and over and over
just
and over
to remind you who he is, in case you keep forgetting.
Okay, that's all my notes. I'm done.
No, you're good. See, and then this is where it does it again, where the chief of police and Rabbi Kai ask Jude to set up a meeting with Hero, and then again, that's not a song.
Yeah.
But we do need a song, I guess. That's Jesus's response to the who do you say, or Jesus answered the who do you say I am kind of thing.
And him asking, that part is just dialogue. It's like the disciples are hanging out and Jesus comes in and he's like, hey guys.
Who do people say that I am?
I hear people saying you're a prophet.
Some people think you're a good man going all the way to the top.
Petrov, who do you think I am?
I think you're the Son of God.
This is the song for Mark Stewart to show off that he's audio adrenaline. This is the audio adrenaline part where we get an audio adrenaline song.
And he's singing. The titles say that this is happening at the Empire State Building. There's nothing else going on that would make that make sense. Is he performing on top of it? Is he inside? Is this a gig? What's happening? Because he has his guitar out and everything. Like, it's like this is done like a band singing a song, even more so than anything else in the show. And this is where he's singing Jesus our hero, that line over and over and over again. It's like, okay, so now we're just calling him Jesus.
Yeah, we've given up on calling him hero. He's Jesus.
Jesus, our hero, give us answers. You're our leader.
Yeah, this one like kind of sucks, and I think would have been if you, instead of having this song, I mean, because you do need to hit that beat of this is when he finally says I'm the Son of God, or kind of hints at it, and we need that beat in the story, but like I think that's something you throw at the end of it maybe, or something. Way better if this is when the chief of police and the rabbi are setting up the meeting, like with Jude. Like I think because then that goes into intermission with you going like, okay, what's gonna happen? I mean, you know what's gonna happen, but what there's intrigue.
Yeah, you've got things moving along. Yeah, because you could also just end it with the proclamation that you are the Son of the Most High, and then like what a good musical could do, where it's just like suspended chords, like the end of 1776 or something like that, and it's like this tension is building. This is the first time we've said it. Where do we go from here? Intermission, Act 2. Yeah, and instead it's just like, well, we just had a song praising God. Here's another song praising God. At the Empire State Building.
Yeah, they are so not into moving the story with the songs, which, friend, you don't want to make a musical then.
No, and especially not an opera where there's basically no dialogue.
Yeah, it's right. It's just an adaptation of a Christian rock album. Songs inspired by the story of Jesus for contemporary times. Like, apparently this was a passion project for Eddie DeGarmo for 10 years.
10
How?
years. Oh my
No,
God.
they were notes he was taking between meetings. Like, I mean, it's...
I don't know how you'd be working on this for 10 years. I don't.
Yeah, I was assuming this was knocked out in maybe 2 to 3 years or something. And it's like,
That's
okay,
not-
well, we did it. We made a lot of money. We sold some comics and
Yeah. Yeah. And there'll be like a dead Wikipedia page about this in 10 years. Like that's
I really wish that they had also done like a video game tie-in. I wish this
Oh my
had kind of
God.
latched onto like the Left Behind games.
that would have been awesome.
Oh, man. What? So the...
I don't know
yeah.
what you would do, but
Oh no, it would have to be like a Jagged Alliance mod, like or something. Like it has to be more squad based than the Left Behind, Left Behind video game being like a Red Alert 2 reskin or whatever. Like I think, you just got to do that one's about God's army in the future. Like I mean, this one's about a few good men. This is about
there you go.
Jesus leading his squad into spiritual warfare. So
I think if they were properly adapting this a video game, what it would be is that all the plot happens during cutscenes, and then when you're actually playing the game, you're just pressing "I love Jesus" over and over.
it's like a DDR rhythm game that's just set to the album Hero. Yeah.
You have no impact on the story, nothing. Just well, we go into a brief intermission, and we come back, and we get this hero guy is stirring up trouble.
Yeah.
So we got the gang of prostitutes dressed as middle school Disney stars yelling at Maggie.
It was unclear whether these were supposed to be children because on the screen they kind of looked like teenagers' faces because they had faces in
what's
addition.
going on with
Well, no,
that?
because they have like a little schoolgirl who then puts on a dunce cap for some damn reason, which then just gets weirder because of the footage
the
they show
wall did
later.
it. Yeah.
It's because the wall did it. Right. So they're like, yes, cool. And I didn't realize until watching it that they were supposed to be like grown women because it's like, oh, okay, rock opera. They're doing the Wall Children's Choir thing.
Yeah.
No, it was only on when I was taking some notes going back over it that I was like, oh, this is supposed to be like the gang of people Maggie left when she chose to follow Jesus.
They're supposed to be like I'm totally blanking on her name. Like they're supposed to be like a gang out of Sin City or something.
Right. But then we get to the baffling use of imagery like I think you've been gesturing at this whole time, so we should talk about. We have this gang that shows up that attacks Hero, and while that's happening, I guess to convey they're Nazis, there's just Nazi imagery on the screen.
An added wrinkle, there's also Malcolm X and Nation of Islam footage interspersed with the Nazi footage.
And that might be my political biases that I took that as okay, well, that's representing resistance. But I probably isn't. You're probably right.
I don't know. I don't
What are you
think
doing?
an evangelical a show intended for an evangelical crowd, I don't think you can positively invoke Malcolm X in that context.
No, you're right.
No, because that was my first impulse too. I'm like, oh, right.
Okay, you're
setting up this opposition.
juxtaposing
And I'm
the
like,
Nazi
what?
imagery with the protests. Okay, yeah.
I guess if you're
I have never heard anyone who describes themselves as an evangelical Christian have one single positive word to say about Malcolm X.
No, I guess guess like the idea could be if you're trying to depict both the state violence of the police state and the zealous movements, right? Like you had 2,000 years ago, Malcolm X leading those who are like, yes, they're fighting against oppressors, but wrong, doing it wrongly.
They're doing
Are they
it wrong.
supposed to represent?
They're the political messiah.
Are they supposed to represent? Yeah.
Okay, so it's the ML. He's supposed to be the MLK
yeah,
an undepicted Malcolm X type violent revolution.
That would be like the zealots.
Yeah,
okay.
but it's like, is that part supposed to represent the people on stage? I don't know, because that's kind of not what's happening in that moment.
No, it's like just a gang beating him up, and then Agent Hunter intervenes and saves Hero.
Yeah,
and then
that happens,
and
then Agent Hunter and Maggie fall in love for no reason. No reason. We just wanted a love song, so we got
because as the screen says, people still fall in love.
I will stand by you in everything you do. Anywhere the road may go, you will never be alone.
Could love bloom on a battlefield? I suppose.
Wow. Why? This is one of the things, even that Jesus Freak Hideout review was like, this is pointless. But this was a pointless thing. Why'd you do that?
Like, it seems like they only did it to just be like, no, Jesus and Maggie are not fucking. They're not fucking. These two are fucking. They're not fucking.
Yeah.
Why would you think they're fucking?
Yeah, but she's not fucking Jesus. She's fucking Paul, obviously.
Yeah, again, this makes some sense if you are writing a musical about this guy, but I don't know, he wrote too many songs that Jesus sings, and so he's like, oh yeah, this guy part of the musical has kind of, we have to cut more of his parts out, but I do still like the love song, so we're keeping that. Like, is there like an earlier version of this that just exists in his notes that does have this through line where we're just following this guy, he falls in love with the lady, he becomes Christ-pilled, or... like, what's the idea here? Why is this more coherent in the tie-in comic series?
There's an alternate version which it just has more of the Agent Hunter songs. I bet that's what that's probably what they just call. There's just more of those. Like every other track, it'll just be he comes back out and he's like, he just fed 5,000 people.
Yeah, it's like a rap musical then. Like they got Lin-Manuel Miranda in, and he filled this one out.
Oh my God, that's it. He's the Lin-Manuel Miranda of this. Yeah. That makes sense now. Actually, it all makes sense now. That's perfect. Okay, so then we get a song where Agent Hunter tells Hero that he likes him and he'll try to help him, but he needs to be careful.
But I'm here to help you. What can I give you? I'm here to help you. If you only say the word. Come on.
Say the word, though, and I'm on your side, bro. Which feels a little too early now, weirdly, for this.
Yeah.
Because he's still collaborating with Icon, so like what...
And then this could work if you make him, like if you're willing to remix and you make him do the Peter thing, you make him cut someone's ear off or whatever.
Yeah, that would be good.
Like, because the only thing this guy understands, because he is, the one world government cop guy, that's all he knows is violence and repression.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'll stand up for Jesus by using the only methods I know how. And then, of course, Jesus radically changes everything by being like, no, we don't do this.
Puts the ear back.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been better.
Eddie DeGarmo, I have thoughts. Let's have a meeting.
Yeah, let's revive Hero for
when we bring this to Broadway. We got to do some really intense reworks here, and we're recasting Hero. Sorry, you can keep everybody else. Your star has just gotten a little too toxic. May I recommend Leslie Odom Jr.
But we are still keeping Michael Quinlan for Jude.
Yes,
he's coming back.
He stays.
He's coming back. He's wearing that cool orange suit that he's wearing in his Instagram pictures.
Hell yeah.
With the sunglasses.
That guy's cool. I'm going to get him on the show someday.
Hell yeah.
And speaking of Jude, we have a Jude song here, Intentions, which I kind of like this one too. So I actually when there's going to be a weird slow song or whatever, I prefer it when it's Michael Quinlan. I don't know.
When it's a scheming vizier ballad.
Yeah. He's got this kind of like nasty voice that I kind of like. It's really like trying to imitate like Creed or Pearl Jam or something, but it's not quite right, but it works for the character to me. I don't know.
Like this is an interesting directorial decision. He's singing into a mirror, like this little like silver hand mirror. Less interesting directorial decision. We just have a projection of coins getting counted by like a close-up of a hand.
Which is baffling, by the way, because that hasn't happened yet. Yeah. He hasn't been paid yet.
That makes sense if it's his silver. Yeah, but no.
Because they'll introduce the Icon headquarters with like stock tickers, to imply that it's also the bankers. They're banker cops.
Mm-hmm. Banker cops, huh? The world government of banker cops, you might say.
Interesting.
Interesting.
So,
would you say they occupy the government?
Is this government occupied by a quasi-police state? So the other thing is it switches between the like Tim and Eric close-up of fingers counting coins to just a spinning graphic of a dollar symbol, and then back to the coin counting, and then back to the dollar symbol. And I want to know whose call it is to like, okay, now we switch over to the dollar.
We've been on the coins too long. Get the dollar symbol in there.
Also implying that Jude was willing to betray Hero for like a $5 footlongs worth of quarters. Like,
it was worth a lot more before Biden, okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Just, it's like okay, I kind of see what you're doing, but what
again, always used really poorly because would have been fine to have the coins and whatever later when he's receiving payment, which they just don't do. I don't think.
I thought I saw he gets like dollars thrown at him by Devlin. He like throws a wad of cash at him at one point, kind of taunting him. It's weird.
Well, man, what are you not doing anything with like one of the most like dramatically interesting scenes is the I don't want your blood money moment, right? Come on. But we do get a giant song for the triumphal entry into Jerusalem. Although I couldn't tell you much about the song.
Yeah, this one's interesting. It's a wreck. They've got now the people who support Jesus are not just doing the Hare Krishna thing with hot dogs and confetti or whatever. Now they've got like protest signs that all have the exclamation point on them, and they say like "I'm with Hero" or whatever. And
Hero rules.
Hero rules. And they don't have a satisfying analog for the donkey. I was kind of waiting to see what that might mean, but they decided not to have any physical production whatsoever. So Tait just enters from the house. He's walking through the aisles, shaking hands with people in the audience who are less than thrilled, and that's it. He did it. We did the triumphal entry. No palm fronds, nothing. I guess maybe that's what the signs are, is the palm fronds.
I feel like I didn't fully understand until like the very end of this that this was even supposed to be the entry into Jerusalem.
Yeah. When I saw him coming in through the house, I was like, yeah. He's got like a person in front of him and a person behind him, and I didn't see a projection say where it was, but I think it was maybe supposed to be Madison Square Garden. They say stadium like in the next scene or something like that, but
it's supposed to, like. Yeah, is it Yankee Stadium?
That would be better. It should be Yankee Stadium.
No, they do that later.
Oh, and then Jesus could ride in on the Metro North. Oh,
that'd be awesome.
Just like, okay, yeah, writing the rock opera about Jesus, setting it in New York City, and then just thoroughly demonstrating you're not interested in any of the interesting aspects of Jesus or New York.
Yeah, like set it in a city you know. Put it in Nashville. Put it in L.A. DeGarmo. Come on.
Well, and just, I don't know. Like, because this is what I want out of if you're choosing to do this story where it's like, okay, we're setting Jesus, but in the present, I want you looking for analogs for the donkey and the palm branches. Because the whole
replace this with that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole fucking thing is, wow, it's a triumphant ceremony like a Roman general returning from war with the palm branches, but he's riding a donkey, which is a symbol of peace rather than the, like a white horse, right? Like, do something with that. Then, I don't know, find something you think is a symbol of peace and something that's a symbol of empire and combine them in a weird way.
Do literally anything. Just do something.
Something.
Fine. He could ride on a motorcycle. I don't give a shit. Just like
get rocked by sexy Jesus. Like
he died for our sins. You better believe it.
Okay. A bit of Nightman Cometh, a bit of Hamlet too about the whole thing.
Again, instead of choosing to make a song about it, we get Jude trying to get Hero to meet with Icon, and Hero says no, and then Jude tells Icon that Hero says no. Which we really needed 2 scenes for that, I think.
And then we get the scene where Tait finally lets loose, where Jesus and Caiaphas get to let loose a bit. And like it's actually like rock, and it's actually angry because we're trashing the temple. We're fucking up the moneylenders and all that.
Yeah. This is like one of the better songs in this. There's energy. There's, this is like Raised in Harlem again, where it's like, okay, here's the glimmers of the musical they wanted to make.
And like Raised in Harlem, it has that double meaning where like, Jesus is saying not in our house. You don't do this in our house. And then Caiaphas coming in and he's saying, well, you don't do what you're doing in our house. They're both using that phrase. But of course, Jesus is talking about himself and his dad. And Caiaphas is talking about Judaism as a whole, the entire religious community here. You're fucking up our stuff.
Yeah.
And this is a fun. This is one of the more fun songs. It's not baffling. It actually kind of makes sense.
I see on the like the amount of plays that each track on this gets on Spotify, which is not a lot, let me tell you. But it's one of the one. It's the one that has the most listens out of the second half.
Okay.
People are clearly getting burned out by the second half, but that's one that apparently people come back to, and I see why.
It's a shame because the second half is when the show starts.
And
it's like when
out
stuff
also.
happens. Yeah, because they don't have any more room for it. They're like, oh, we hit an hour and a half already, so we just gotta run through it.
We just gotta go.
Also, a real opportunity to just put a bunch of shit on the stage and throw it around, and they've got like 3 things to gingerly knock over. There's just like, I don't know. I wish,
and there's like a lot of physical production in the form of the scaffolds and the drums and the instruments and the projectors and projection screens. They just don't put it into anything stagey or fun. They just put it into Kool-Aid.
We also get just another Agent Hunter song.
This isn't looking good at all, man. The plot's sticking in, I'm thinking that it's about to blow. There's no escape or compensation.
He's thinking about how they're totally gonna kill this Jesus guy.
He's not your protagonist. He's not your protagonist anymore. Just give it up. This is also kind of an okay song, but it's too late. It's too late. Ditch him.
This should have been at the very beginning of the second half.
Yeah, that would be a strong opening.
He's courting trouble. This should be here instead of the weird Nazi thing. Instead of all that, I think that should be like right at the beginning to set up like, this is what this next whole like chunk is gonna be. Is us going to the cross, slowly. Like that's where this goes. But no. And then we get like something that made me groan out loud. was
The audience went crazy.
I know, they go crazy. The lights go down and they come back up and they're at a long table perfectly like set up like Da Vinci's like Last Supper painting.
And they don't even do the Last Supper until the last second of the song, which means their director has seen Sunday in the Park with George and tried to ape Sunday in the Park with George do the whole scene at the table. Do the whole
thing.
That's why
They
it's such
divide
an
it into two
active
songs.
painting. Is it's a painting that's depicting the conversation and the, you've betrayed me and everything. Like, this is all just building up to them having the Last Supper.
But no, we have to have a song about that this is a party for some reason. And then a second song at the table, which is when Michael Tait says that you can eat his body.
Yeah, and this is another sort of, in stage terms, recitative and Christian music terms, it's like a tazé thing. It's just like this very simple chant.
Yeah.
Do this in remembrance of me, and then we move on.
Bummer. Like, you could do so much more with this. This is like getting close to the climax of the story.
Yeah.
This needs to be like, I don't just want to see Jude like looking evil in the corner. I want him to maybe walk over to the audience and sing a song about what he's about to do.
Yeah.
Or like, I want like, there's so much dialogue that kind of just gets thrown out.
Jesus puts his disciples into disarray, right? They just had this big moment. He's come into the town. They have thrashed the lobby of the temple. They're having Passover Seder, or the 2,000-year-old equivalent of a Seder. And now Jesus is just like, by the way, things are going to go really south. One of you is going to be the one who does it, and another one of you is going to be a little bitch about it 3 times.
It's a very big moment in the story, the actual story.
That's why the painting looks like that. It's supposed to be the moment right after Jesus has said that, and everyone's going like, "What? Oh my God! What? How?" Ooh. And then you see Judas in the corner like stealing stuff. Like, it's a really fun thing.
Yeah. But then, you know what? We do get the best Judas song right after this. Because then this is where Judas does his I'm Scheming song finally, which is Shadow Man.
Not the best Judas song in the whole canon of musical theater, but the best Judas song in this show. Yeah.
I mean, like we've been saying, Jesus Christ Superstar, like that's half of that is just awesome Judas songs.
Yeah. Here, they even do like probably the most creative they've gotten with lighting as well. He's like mostly in silhouette. There's kind of a low blue fill on him, and then just like red backlighting.
Right around here, I was while watching this is when my girlfriend came home from work, and sat down, and eventually just went, "You're into some weird shit, you know." So.
Yeah. I'm like,
no,
I try to, whenever I get into this awful stuff, I'm like, I don't need anyone to be around me when I'm watching this.
I was trying to describe this to coworkers today, and it was not helping me at work. Like,
it's hard to explain this. I think if somebody didn't know any CCM and they didn't listen to the Intro to Christian Rock episode we did, this might also be inscrutable. This episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
so weird. And it's like, it's weird to think about the impact of it because so much of it is so big, but it's like a thing that my sister had on CD and I kind of knew about. It was not like a big deal. Maybe if we lived in the South or something, it would have been a bigger deal. I don't know.
I can't imagine if I had heard of this during my evangelical world, I would have liked it much. This is definitely not up my alley that much.
Yeah.
So. No, I mean, like I think this mostly got disseminated in discount bins as a CD. Like the rest of the tie-in media kind of feels like an afterthought, and like clearly they made it. They made some sort of return on it, but it never really like occupied part of the culture it was so clearly trying to.
Well, and you know what I think's part of the reason for that is it's not good.
Yes.
And I mean, I think even CCM listeners could kind of recognize that. And part of why it's not good is, I'll be real, I think Shadow Man is probably the real climax of this, actually. Not how they want it to be, but it is, like, on an actual song level, because everything after this is pretty fucking forgettable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's insane, because this is a passion narrative.
Yeah. It's the torturing and murdering of the Messiah.
And we just blow past that. So we get this song, Hero's Agony, which I guess is supposed to be Gethsemane.
Yeah, it says they're in Central Park. And I do like the idea of Central Park, which is massive, by the way.
It's huge, yeah.
It's just gigantic. Like, where in Central Park? Are they like... This is supposed to be the equivalent to Gethsemane. Sure. Jesus is dealing with his inner demon. This is the most theatrical the show ever gets, because his inner turmoil is represented by this very fetishistic imagery of these dancers who are wearing gas masks, and they have these, like, I don't even know, it's like a snare that you would use to pull someone out of a swimming pool that have like a loop at the end. They're all kind of pulling Jesus this way and that. And I guess I applaud the creativity, but I'm also so tired. This has been going on for so long.
Yeah, we're at like 1 hour 40 minutes at this point. Something
and
like
it's
that.
like it's some good rock and roll imagery, but it shows why Christian rock can be kind of this funny thing, because so much of rock is about, like, there's always that sort of experimentation with gender, right? Androgyny, ambiguity, gender fuckery, sexual fetishism. And it's like the gender stuff not really on display in this musical, but then all of a sudden you have these chicks in gas masks. Dancing around, tormenting a man.
Yeah, no, it's like, I think like I think they're trying to crib some like nu metal and industrial imagery.
Yeah.
Like,
and then
like
using it in a surreal way, kind of like The Wall, Pink Floyd kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's trying to do that, I think.
Yeah, but then it's like, right, then you have 4 women in gas masks, like 4-way lynching a black man on stage. It's just, like, right. It's just like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. It's an attempt to portray like Jesus dealing with like the sin of the world, and that it's just
and that he's gonna die.
Yeah, but then it just collapses into a wetmare. Like,
And then, hands down, I think the thing that pissed me off, like genuinely pissed me off with this, is the I Am song after that. Because, okay, this doesn't make sense with the narrative. This is CCM's, like, style, its, like, impulses artistically actually conflicting with the source material.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Jesus doesn't resolve that prayerful moment in the story by going, but I'm going to stand up and I'm going to do... It's not inspirational. No. He's sweating blood, for fuck's sake. Okay?
He's saying,
leave it in the darkness.
Not me, not my will, right? But yours. It's just, okay, well, you say I gotta do it. I guess I gotta do it. There's no big, 11 o'clock number where he's like, who am I, 24601 or whatever.
The one to make a change. Who's gonna do it?
It's just like, it makes me mad. I think it's because I find some of these intense emotional moments of the passion narrative are the stuff that I've continued to find compelling.
Yeah.
So then I find it really frustrating when you do this, because it's like, I don't know, like, this is actually one of the most interesting, like, in the Episcopal Church, this is a thing that we, like, liturgize. Mm-hmm. You know, like this is an important part of the story.
Yeah.
Is the, like, the arrest and the torture and that moment is important, and choosing to do nothing with it because you don't want to hang out in ugly feelings for too long is like exactly what is wrong with so much Christian art.
Yeah.
Anyway, that song pisses me off.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then we get the Kill the Hero song, and then this is where we get the Pontius Pilate that should have been in the story the whole time.
Good Lord, this dude rolls in and he's got a whole thing going on. He's got this craggy face and this eye patch, and Who is this? Who's this
Patch is
actor?
in,
The end from Snake
Yeah,
Eater.
yeah.
He just
Yeah.
shows up into the play.
in this giant electric wheelchair coming out with the eye patch. It's like this is the character that should have been here this whole time, played by Bob Farrell, who's just
Okay.
like a nobody from what I could tell. He's just
I think he co-wrote with Eddie DeGarmo.
yeah, he was one of the writers on this. That's right.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So he was probably some sort of figure in the Jesus music scene.
I'm sure.
Or maybe just in the C-suite at EMI.
I get to be on stage. Okay,
just-
make it only 5 minutes.
It would be so funny if it was like Eddie DeGarmo's like executive assistant Toady or something.
But aside from that awesome character moment, this song doesn't do anything with this either.
No. This is a really unimpressive moment in the show. I do always appreciate someone who depicts Pilate as evil, as this is none of my business, being more of a procedural matter than something that reflects him as a moral person, right? I think that especially as anti-Semitic as this show has already been, a lot of the early sins of Christianity can trace themselves to that moment when the Orthodox Church decides to make Pontius Pilate a saint.
Jesus Christ. The guy who actually killed Christ.
Yeah. No, he washed his hands, though. He said that.
Yeah, but that's there's so much drama in this moment in the story. You've got that, you've got the chanting crowds. You can do so much with this, and they don't.
No, it's a backroom meeting.
Yeah, two accusers laying it on him.
And what's weird about this is that, and I don't know how the Pilate stuff played out in the comic, but I do remember the imagery of how Jesus is killed in the comic of Hero. And it's sort of represented here because in the comic, you have the detective, he's being sort of swept up in this big crowd, right? And they're, do you want Jesus? They're like, we want him. And they take him. And the crowd lynches him. They hang him up. They tear down a metal sign from the street. They tie him to it with razor wire, and they carry him above them as they march up 8th Avenue.
Oh my God.
And there's so much better.
Yeah, I mean that's some like Alan Moore Miracle Man shit too. That is metal as fuck.
Yeah, and so it's all of that violence bound into one, and it's also an original idea based on the gospel without having to go beat by beat from it.
That's
here
so much
you
better.
see a representation of that, but you wouldn't necessarily read it as the crowd getting a hold of him and killing him themselves.
Yeah, and that no, you don't get that. So I don't know. So I guess it's not as it could be more anti-Semitic because it's not the crowds, it's not the quote Jews, it's Pontius Pilate. But I don't know. Okay, if you wanted to do with that with an evangelical thing, what would be interesting? You find a way to implicate the audience,
right? Yeah, you did
because that's supposed to be the whole line anyway. Is I heard this a lot in evangelical churches. It's we were in the crowd, we crucified Christ. It was our sins, whatever. So if you wanted to do that theologically, I think you would find a way to encourage the crowd to be singing along to something that's them chanting for Jesus's death.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
Which would be awesome. And not nearly as theatrical, but I think the Gospel According to St. Matthew kind of does that more, where it's the camera for that whole scene is set from inside the crowd. You see someone's back in front of you and everything. So you're in the crowd that's demanding it. It's way better. Obviously very different. Not to be this rock opera is not at all like that art house movie, but
well, and musically there's something you can do too, where if you have a good enough theme for Jesus coming in on the donkey, right, you use that motif for the people who are now calling for his death.
Yes. Yeah. That's so much. Yeah. Just a wasted scene. This is the part that really made me mad, is just these are the big moments in the fucking narrative.
Yeah, and it's just two guys talking to each other, and then Jesus gets hit a bunch by the chorus, who all have big sticks now.
Yeah, that was the most fitishy thing to me too. Also, it's okay, now we get a group of girls come and beat him up for a while.
It was better fight choreography and acting work from Michael Tait than I ever would have expected. I didn't think he had any of that in him. But he did, well, I mean, this thing is also cutting left and right, so it's really hard to follow any of the action, but he seems like he was doing pretty okay on that stage. Not to give praise to Michael Tait,
no.
a credibly accused rapist.
Piece of shit. Okay, another frustrating song because so on the
all we
album
got
it's just called Execute on the album, but in the like Wikipedia track listing, it's more honest where it's Execute / Intentions reprise / Hero reprise / Lose My Life with You, which that should also be reprise because that's coming back. But whatever. Like okay, this is 3-4 songs.
Yeah.
Shoved together. Because they are rushing through the narrative at this point.
They're getting everything done. They really just want to go home at this point. It's rare to see that in writing because usually you don't write in order like that, but it just feels like you've gotten to the end of the line on your page and you're like writing smaller and then like your writing starts going down the
page. Because this song alone includes the girls beating up Hero. Jude committing suicide, then the crucifixion, and then Mary and Maggie singing mournfully because he's dead.
Yeah,
and singing Now We Bring Back Lose My Life With You, that song from the beginning,
and Jude
which is the only reason it's there.
And Jude is like on a corner of the stage that you haven't seen before. It's like where all the amps are, and he has his stage gun, and then he shoots himself in a blackout, and then that's when we finally get to see Jesus on top of the street sign, which is a cool image elsewhere, but not here.
Yeah. Especially, I don't know. Yeah, it's been hyped up.
Yeah.
You know, this is supposed to be the moment. It just doesn't land for me at all. And again, this is a passion narrative. You can't fuck up the passion.
A passion narrative where the passion itself is like kind of an afterthought.
Yeah.
It's like what attracted you can't even tell like what attracted them to the project. Like it's just, everything is just sort of this unforced error. Like who's interested in these aspects of the story? Like there's more love and attention put into Petrov and Jude throwing cards at each other than there is on the staging of the crucifixion. Just very bizarre priorities throughout all of it.
Because also the image that we get of him crucified is like him already dead, it seems like.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
Why
okay,
don't we
now
get a
there's
crucifixion.
Yeah. No, he gets beaten up and then he's hung up to dry.
I mean, it doesn't need to be Passion of the Christ here. Just give me something.
Because he's not up there saying anything, right? That's a big part of, if you're doing a Jesus musical, you got to get Jesus to sing while he's on the cross.
We don't even get a my God, why have you forsaken me?
Nothing.
Come on.
Yeah.
I hate this.
This
makes me so mad.
People got paid. Some people, probably
Some people
fewer people than you'd think, but some people got paid for this.
No, it just feels like a licensing scheme.
Yeah.
At the end of
it.
Like,
and an unsuccessful one. I've never heard.
Right.
I'm sure maybe there's some church somewhere that has done Hero, but I never saw any soloists picking anything out of this album.
Right.
Right, again, because who's going to be like, oh, I want to see this at like my church in South Dakota. I want to see them do this, but like there's no Michael Tait or any of the people that you care about.
I can see some poor misguided 14-year-old who hasn't discovered actual theater yet just being like trying so hard to get his worship leader to do this musical.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I bet there are a handful of people who just hadn't discovered musical theater. This was the first exposure
and it's
to
like,
musical theater they
and
had.
like just desperately like I just
yeah.
want to perform this. And it's like in 4 years you're gonna come out. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna move to Des Moines at the very least, Fargo, and you'll learn about Grindr. You'll have some bad experiences, but you'll grow. You'll grow.
Hey, maybe you'll get to be in Jesus Christ Superstar one day.
Or I'm imagining like there has to be a production where like a dark youth pastor casted themselves as evil youth pastor. That was a wrong.
Dark side.
Like a dark-sided youth pastor, right? Just as a complete ego trip, like trying to like teach his youth group a lesson for not respecting his authority or something. Like, no, that's a more interesting.
That's also interesting.
I'm gonna license this musical just to make a
story.
meta musical about a dark-sided youth group putting on a production of Hero.
That sounds kind of awesome.
It's just it just becomes this sort of like the youth group slowly realizes like, are we dead? Are we in hell? Like, what have we done to deserve this? Like, I don't.
But you know who is dead and in hell? Jesus. And we get a title that erroneously says 3 days later. You know, it's not it's 3 full days don't pass. It's the third day. I get why that's confusing. But it's not 3 days. It's 3 days later in Hero. Whatever. They actually took an artistic liberty for once, and we get to one of the most baffling depictions of the resurrection I've ever come across.
This is what I mean by fizzling out too here.
Yeah.
Like this is like, this is the resurrection.
It's almost like they wanted to keep it ambiguous the way that Godspell and Jesus Christ Superstar do, or can. Not always do, because a director can do something with it. But like here we have, of course, Jesus has to go to a morgue. It's the modern day. So we're at the morgue, and Mary Magdalene, or Maggie, is outside sleeping on the steps, I guess. Hard to tell. There's a little bit of scenery here, weirdly, and you have a guy sweeping the floor wearing all white like a janitor, and it's definitely Michael Tait, but okay, we're pretending that we don't all know that it's Michael Tait, and who was just hanging up on that cross. So he must have changed his clothes in about 15 seconds on that stage. So everyone in the audience knows, but he hasn't turned around yet, so they're not going to applaud yet. And he walks up to her while she's sleeping by the morgue, and he's like, the guy you're here for, you know, he's gone. He's ascended, he's whatever. He's the usual boilerplate, you know. But then the messenger himself is Michael Tait, and he turns around and takes off the hat, which means that he's Jesus and not the separate messenger. Or does that mean that? I
don't know. Because like there's also why
not just have a different guy do it?
Well, and I think they did at one point, because there's a credit for the janitor angel in that scene of Nathan Lee, who I don't know.
Really?
So I don't know if
maybe he's singing that part, because it doesn't really sound. I don't know.
I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, because that's a different guy. That's an angel. But according to tradition, it's not Jesus himself being like, Jesus is gone. Also, he's me. I'm here.
And look, like, you could do more with the like, just seeing the credit janitor angel. I'm having that's so fun.
Yeah,
you could do that, and especially that could be a fun whiplash thing.
Yeah.
You know, is like you go from the horrific crucifixion scene, lights go black, you know, you indicate that the days have passed, and you come back and you got an angel that's a janitor just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
And it could be funny for a second, and you could do something with that. You do anything with this.
Do anything.
God damn it.
As opposed to nothing. I mean, I guess they did kind of do something here, just very confusingly.
No.
Because then Maggie goes back to everyone and is like, yeah, Jesus came back. You can't see him, but he's back. He did it.
And there's no big celebratory feel to it. Mm-mm. It's just kind of like a piece of information.
Michael Tait stands in front of the projector screen with his arms out.
Yep. And it's like, that's Jesus. And then that's it.
Yep.
And then it goes to just, we're back at Agent Hunter. He's in jail.
It's like, oh yeah, I remember this now.
God damn it. And he's just like, yeah, I'm in jail now because I collaborated with Jesus, blah, 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 blah. But you know, even though I've got these bars or whatever, I'm actually free because of this. Which, okay, if you're doing the Paul thing, put a fucking earthquake here.
Yeah.
And make him release. Because you know what I think is like so falling, just like limp and just terrible about this ending is it's like, what was the point of all this? Because what it made a guy still stuck in prison, his life is still shit, feel okay. That's it. That's the gospel message we got out of this.
Yeah, I guess that broader idea of like, be willing to be willing to be the guy in prison, be willing to be the Jesus freak. I suppose, but the rest of that show doesn't reinforce that. It's just there to make you feel good about someone else who's in prison for it.
Yeah. I think like weirdly him doing that from prison like lines up with the whole political Messiah thing we're talking about earlier. Is like it's really emphasizing that this gospel doesn't have anything to say for like physical reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to say about how things should actually be structured, how political structure should work, how empire should function, or it's not going to get you actually out of jail. Unlike the Bible, again, in the Bible where there's a fucking earthquake that frees Paul. No.
Yeah.
Like it's just this guy feels good.
It even repurposes a line of Christ's where when the people questioning him are trying to trick him into saying something that would turn people against him, where, like, should we pay our taxes to Caesar or should we pay our offering to God? And he's like, well, you do both. You pay to Caesar what is Caesar's and pay to God what is God. And in this musical, he says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's or whatever to Judas as like a don't give that to me or like leave or like leave it up to they kind of invert the meaning of what he's saying is like the matters of Caesar have nothing to do with me because they can't be pro taxation, I guess, in this market.
Right. It's a weird use of that. There's a lot of that. Like actually this is a theme throughout all of this. It's just irresponsible uses of both imagery and then just like chunks from the Bible. Just like actually just taken out of their context. And like instead of doing what I would have wanted out of this, which is like, okay, do something. If you're changing the context, do something with that, know, like
it's
try to find those parallels.
If your audience is supposed to be Christians, right? There's always kind of with an evangelical piece of artwork, there's always the ostensible audience of outsiders, right? It is supposed to be evangelizing, but this is obviously just for Christians, right? Here are the things remixed. Remixed, why? Are you trying to get people to think about this in a different way? Or are you just doing it because that's a thing you can do? And it seems like the latter here, other than maybe trying to get you to be suspicious of the UN.
Maybe? Yeah. And even then, it's like not like big, like doesn't do enough with that for us to even really have that takeaway. Because it just stands in as just Rome. Like you just blur that into your head with it's just sci-fi Rome.
Is it a warning? The UN is going to throw you in prison. Give it a few more years, they'll take over.
It's gotta happen. Yeah. Look, first they're gonna be mad about us invading Iraq, and then now they're coming for you too.
Oh no, I've never been more intimidated by the UN peacekeeping force that has definitely kept peace every time they've tried to.
They've done a good job.
Well, I've been reading the news a lot lately. All those guys at the UN are in Hamas, it turns out.
That's what I've heard.
Very dangerous.
That's true. So that's Hero. It just kind of fizzles out like that.
Yeah, it's just like, right, an entire series of like, wouldn't it be cool if it was like that? And then like somebody's like, yeah, but why though? It's like, well, moving on. Wouldn't this also be cool if it was like that?
I also wonder about the people who maybe turn this down. This is kind of this super group thing. It's almost the $1 Million Quartet. They got Michael Tait. But like, were there going to be other big names that were in this? Were the other members of DC Talk supposed to be in it? And then they heard that Tait was in it. They're like, nah, fuck it.
Well, I mean, I wonder why John Cooper didn't do like the stage performance we saw of him, right?
Yeah.
Like that might have been that. I think he might have been like, yeah, sure, I'll record and be in a couple showings of it. But like, still it was like taking off at this time.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's like, I'm going to go do that probably.
Yeah, like so it could be like come and see all the big stars you could ever imagine, and it's not quite that. Although getting Michael Tait and Rebecca St. James just by itself is pretty big for CCM at that time. I mean, she was a big draw when I saw her at Lives Ablaze in Glorieta, New Mexico. For the kids who couldn't make it out to Acquire the Fire in Phoenix, we were able to go to Lives Ablaze and see Rebecca St. James.
Yeah, that's it. That's Hero.
That is the feeling of watching Hero. It's just I
watched Hero. You guys have any final final thoughts on it? I'm trying to even think of what to say.
No, I guess I said it. I guess I, what is the point of this? I'm sure there was one at some point, but artistically, Eddie DeGarmo can't get it over the line and couldn't find himself to work with a director who would be like, no, half this score is shit. You need to rewrite it.
Yeah. Oh my God. So is this is suffering like kind of from the prequel problem where it's like kind of clear George Lucas is just sort of uninterested in directing anymore.
Yeah.
But nobody knows how to be like, George, you can let somebody else direct this. It's just like, somebody should have been like, Eddie, no, we'll give you credit. Like, we just need to turn this into something. He's like, no, it's my vision.
Yeah.
Just like, right.
It's just
right. I get he's head of the publishing group. Like, nobody wants to say no.
Yeah.
Because he's too powerful. He's too connected. Like,
yeah. But artistically, he's washed. I mean, this whole thing is just so boring. He would have done better getting the different CCM acts to write each song in the show, like the SpongeBob musical or something.
I think an essential thing about this is that I think to be interesting, it either needed to be less or more reactionary.
Yeah.
And not where it's at.
Yeah.
Because, okay, if you're going to make like crazy right-wing evangelical like this, make it like actually the UN or something, and make it like, just go all in, make it offensively evangelical. And that would be, I wouldn't want that artifact to exist in the world, but it would be more entertaining. You either do that, or the reality is this whole premise they're trying to do is more interesting when you don't have reactionary politics. And you can actually look at the US as an empire.
Yeah.
Because that's the reality. Is like, if you want to actually do this story of what if Jesus was alive today, I've actually heard even good sermons where people have done that, and they're usually from a left-wing perspective.
Yeah.
That's why they're good. Because they're able to go, okay, well, let's imagine if an immigrant landed in the US and it's like a refugee family and they're stuck having to deal with the police and the anti-homelessness legislation and the shit like that, as like the actual, these people had to struggle through. You know what I mean? And then, okay, the US is an empire. Like, Rome is so much more a parallel to the US than it is to UN or whatever, obviously. And that would be the threat to power, would be if it was actually threatening American iconography in some way. But it's not.
Right. There's just like too many like third rails, I guess. There's just too many points of instant failure with the audience they're clearly going for.
Yeah.
So it's like, so they're dancing around all this stuff, and then right, and then it just turns into a product it doesn't feel like you're a big fan of the thing you claim you're a huge fan of.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting to think about those third rails and to think that, like, for as philo-Semitic as this crowd is and how much they love an idea of Jews that they have in their head, how much they love Israel and all of that stuff, that the imagery in this show, the way that Jewish characters are depicted, does not raise any alarm bells for them, right? That is not a third rail for them,
which is
anyway.
wild.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It's like, yeah. Right. Like we said earlier, is like you do the modern styling, but then, just keep it like, oh, it's still set in Jerusalem. You have a Roman Empire. You do that sort of dance where it's like, okay, it's still cohesive, recognizably the story, but like, this is how it would play out. Like if you do a palette swap on it, but then it was like, okay, we need to build a universe from first principles, but it's just like an initial sketch of like, ooh, what would history be like with, if it just like, raising a bunch of questions, what ifs, and just like it just never coheres. It just never.
It never turns into. It just
arrives anywhere.
A very generic. It ultimately ends up being just an incredibly generic retelling of the Christ story. That is just like, you remember the healing. You remember that he does a sermon. No parables anywhere in here.
No parables. Yeah, and then you just start hand waving once you arrive at the meat of the story.
Yeah, it's like, what happens. We got our big moments. We move real fast, and
he dies. He comes
it's
back.
the imitation of a show. It's like the idea of what a show is, and it never actually is a show.
Yeah, it's a guy who's used to writing rock albums, half-assing a concept album, and then thinking, "Oh, I can turn this into a stage production."
Yeah, yeah. It seems so simple. I've done concerts. I've produced concerts. What difference is it if it's a musical, right? The songs are just sort of connected to each other. They're all on stage. There's kind of a set. That's it. I did it.
That's it.
This is gonna capture the imagination of the MTV generation for sure.
Yeah, I just have to pay a projection designer $1 million.
And he's gonna put Hitler up there for some reason.
Yeah, and give him access to the BBC archive, like fucking Adam Curtis, I guess.
Yeah, that's what they don't tell you, is that's just a full Adam Curtis movie in the background. They just muted the narration.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah. What a bizarre artifact. Like, just at the end of the day, it's just like, I guess it makes sense that this exists.
Yeah,
and it makes sense that we collectively memory hold it too.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm struggling to find a way to just wrap this episode up now, because I'm like, what?
I think it really is just like, I think it really is just what the 2000s felt like. I think it's just what being an evangelical Christian in the 2000s was like, where it's like you had this ascendancy of evangelical popular culture. You had this big Catholic movie, but like The Passion of the Christ being like a distinctly Christian thing that was like one of the top grossing movies of the year. You had George W. Bush, who was, / our guy / right there in the White House praying with James Dobson every morning. It couldn't have gone better. We were getting rid of evolution in schools. This was our slop. This was the slop that we got to have. You, on the one end, like probably the best stuff being made for the CCM evangelical crowd was Adventures in Odyssey. And then on the other end, you have this giant corporate product tie-in that includes an album, a DVD, a touring concert show with all the stars, a graphic novel, and 3 novel adaptations sometime down the road from there too. And it's just like, because publishing became the big thing, because this licensing, these record labels, everything, they were also integrated. They were at your Christian bookstore, which is definitely where my sister got that album. And this was just like their purely synergistic commercial product, and it didn't really need to be anything more, even if there was ostensibly some sort of artistic passion behind it.
Yeah. Well, hey, Brian, you mentioned Adventures in Odyssey. If somebody doesn't know what that is and they want to know more about this, where can they find that?
Well, then I apologize in advance. So I have a show called The Worst of All Possible Worlds. It is a weekly podcast where we discuss in pretty long format, like we've done here today.
That's right.
Various artifacts of our popular culture. One of our recurring series is one where we go through an evangelical children's radio show produced by Focus on the Family, that execrable organization, called Adventures in Odyssey. That's all about kids hanging out with this quirky inventor man, learning about the Bible. And it is a radio show that started in 1987 and is continuing to run this day, 2025. With no end in sight. More than 1,000 episodes aired. But that's not all we do. Like recently we've talked about Rambo.
You did First Blood.
I had Josiah on just a couple weeks ago to talk about kind of a weird, an unusual episode where we did sort of a far-reaching conversation about internet culture, the Japanese horror movie Pulse, and the video essays that Josiah and I have made, which are very good and you should watch, and they should get a higher view count. Yes. So yeah, I mean, it's very eclectic. The movies, music, video games, occasionally books, but that's just so much work sometimes.
And I gotta say, like, I mean, yeah, the amount of like production value you guys are bringing, like every episode, like I can't fathom like the amount of effort you're all putting in regularly.
It's a lot of work.
Put that out.
We are very high strung people. All three of us, AJ, Josh, and I, from The Worst of All Possible Worlds, come from the theater, and so we are so used to doing a lot for no money. Even when it's bad for us and bad for our health. And so we always record like 3 hours and change like every week. And then I spend 2 days editing every episode and, throwing in clips and cleaning things up and doing sneaky little pickups that hopefully no one ever catches. And fact checking and all of that shit. We always try to be a little bit informative, a lot entertaining, and we also have these weird commercial breaks in the middle because we are funded by patrons. You can check us out on patreon.com/worstofall. And we don't do real commercials. We just do insane things from the mind of AJ Diddy for 3 to 7 minutes every single week, and it's wonderful.
They are absolutely unhinged. It's a great show. I think the audience for our shows is pretty overlapped, but for the few fruitless listeners who don't listen to Worst of All, you'll like Worst of All Possible Worlds.
Yeah.
If you like Fruitless, you'll like Worst of All Possible Worlds.
Yeah, we're a less relaxed Fruitless.
Less relaxed and from the theater.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, which that's a deal breaker, I know, for some people.
Some people, yeah. Yeah, if instead of episodes on metalcore and stuff like that, you wanted stuff on musical theater, that's
right. Yeah, the works of Stephen Sondheim.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, make sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps out with the algorithm. And if you really like what you heard, consider supporting the show on Patreon. And one of the benefits of supporting this show on Patreon is that you get your name read out at the end of every episode. So, without further ado, this episode is brought to you by our lovely patrons who include Avakai Brodagam, I Drink Corn Syrup, Yum, I Am Once Again, Leo Zachary Dickinson, Philip Cozy, Vita Breva, Attention Francis, Benjamin Rawls, Caleb Butler, Frankie Teardrop, Gavin Aronson, Josh Christensen, Kyle Gannis, Martha Zumack, Moss, Nathan Thiessen, please don't read my name out, I'm shy, Randy Sutton, Regular Sized Horse, parentheses, Small, Robert Eilman, Stephanie R., Stephen aka Spike Stonehand, The Worst of All Possible Worlds, Vicky Sutton, Derek Hale, and of course, Chris Barker. Thank you so much for supporting this show. And now here's Grits.
My life be like, yeah. My life be like, low key and stand candid. Reflect on all the things I try my hand at. Search for the equation to persuasions I'm used to. Finding comfort in the zones of clouds and bones I get loose to. A mountain is Fontaine, spinning in monsoon and grinning is high octane. Explosive how I came, rolling down the hills cause life's a hassle. Encircled by my folly like a moat around the castle. Stay afloat, catch a second wind thin is the air I breathe. Teary-eyed nose running, wipe the snot on my sleeve. I'm calling on the Savior to be all that I need. Please forgive me, my behavior had me lost in light speed. Times like these that make me say, Lord, if you see me, please come my way. Like leaving breadcrumbs rolling out astray. Allow sacrifice in the price you pay. Living like a fingertip. Sometimes I fall, I slip. Walk feelings I be more like you. Try not to put your fire with the things I like.
The fear of never falling in love, and the tears after losing the feelings of what you thought love was. Like the dirt still up under the rug.
My life be like
bad characteristics covered in Christ's blood. The joy of new birth and the pain of growing up. The bliss between giving my all and giving up. The highs and lows, paths and roads I chose. In the cold I froze, trying to ease my woes in this world of sin. Close too thin to fit, so the God I send words of help to win. And grumbling so deep letters can never express. So the sounds of ooh-ah beneath my breath will check.
Times like these that make me say, Lord, if you see me, please come my way. Like leaving breadcrumbs rolling out astray. Allow sacrifice in the price you pay. Living like a fingertip. Sometimes I fall, I slip. Walk feelings I be more like you. Try not to put your fire with the things I do.
My life be like ooh-ah, ooh, dum-dum ditty. Here come that boy from the capital city. Last up on the grits, new ditty. But 8 bars of the truth will do. I believe there's a bride that's stunning, and I believe in the kingdom coming. I believe if you seek the truth, you don't need to look far, cause it's gonna find you. So why, oh why do I trip and stumble? And ooh, as commitment crumbles. I can't believe that I'm here again.
My life be like times like these that make me say, Lord, if you see me, please come my way. Like leaving breadcrumbs rolling out astray. Allow sacrifice in the price you pay. Living like a fingertip. Sometimes I fall.
like.